Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Guess what? We're starting it out with me talking over someone by accident. Hello.
Right.
We did not know that she did not know coming in that we had started already.
Greetings.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the funny Umineko stream, full of only funny things.
No, it's not.
Like our faces.
What?
He said, like our faces.
I've never shown my face live on stream, except for the time I played Deadly Premonition.
Except for the time I
Except
did.
for that one time I totally did.
See, no, here's the thing. Nobody who's currently watching the stream now has ever actually seen my face.
That is...
We saw your face before.
No, I'm not you people!
That's literally
because I am looking at your stream and I have seen your face because you posted a picture.
I think it means the current Twitch audience.
He's talking about
the Twitch audience specifically.
He's talking about
Yeah, that's the problem.
He's talking about all
I'm part of the Twitch audience.
He's talking about all 7 of our viewers, all of which are us.
Yes,
Man, Ellie's already fucking dead.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, see, if I was doing that drinking game, I would have done like 8 shots just in like 10 seconds.
Wait, I just realized
8 shots in 10 seconds.
I just realized I can mute people in here, can I?
You sure can.
Oh, I need to remember that.
Yeah, if people start talking over about someone, just fucking kill them. Just fucking kill them.
Murder.
I do not know where this aggression comes from, Christ almighty.
So... Violence.
No, it's wrath.
So depending on how well we do, the chapter following the next 2 chapters is relatively short, so we might pour over a little bit so we can get through that one too, because it's a good one.
Alright, hopefully by that time Orange and Zest doesn't kill anyone because they're very angry today.
I'm not that angry. What are you talking about?
You guys are very pissed off today. I don't know what's up your fucking
what are you
talking about?
I'm just extra aggressive today, if I'm being real.
I have energy today.
I don't know. It just seemed like you guys were very mad today. I'm sorry.
I know you seem
Madness.
There is no beef in these
look
streets.
down.
It's not beef. I'm
There's
just
no beef in
saying
these
how I
streets,
feel.
but
Guys, we're all happy.
I think now
we're all
a little
happy.
bit.
Okay, guys, we're all happy.
Talking over each other. Can you please stop?
Oh wait, I have to go. Fear of fact. Can you wait like
Oh my
minutes?
fucking god!
We're back.
Oh my fucking god.
Wow!
Already started.
Oh boy, yeah, we're starting.
Oh, I need to go bake a cake. I'll be right back.
Oh. I'm pretty sure you aren't needed for the foreseeable future, so that's fine.
I'm back.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, I got a pie instead, so that was a lot easier.
Alright, nice. Okay. The Rose Garden was truly splendid this year. Is everybody in? You better be. The roses were blooming like crazy, as if competing with each other. In the Rose Garden, Kinzo, Kanon, and Natsuhi could be seen. Once again, the flowers have grown wonderfully this year. It must be the result of your care.
Darcy?
Kanon. Canon.
Bottom?
Thank you very much. The weather just happened to be good this year.
Thanks to your care, the garden's even more beautiful than usual. Good work.
Thank you very much.
If today weren't so special, then we might have been able to admire the roses while enjoying some black tea. Kinzo shrugged. Today was the family conference. When it came to the other siblings' businesses, none of the news had been good. On the contrary, those siblings probably planned to turn the conversation to the topic of Kinzo's remaining life, and held quite a quiet feud over the inheritance.
Those people are quite unpleasant. By the way, what about Kraus? Is the debt repayment plan of his proceeding well?
It does seem to be a realistic plan. However, it's a plan on quite a large scale, and it doesn't seem to be bearing fruit quite well as he expected.
If possible, I would have hoped to have that resolved before today's family conference.
Yes. My apologies.
Are you sure you're okay, Kenzo? Casually walking around a place like that?
How had she gotten up there? Well, it's fairly pointless to wonder about that sort of thing when you're dealing with a witch. Beatrice was casually sitting on the roof of the arbor, almost as though she had been basking in the sun.
Easy reminder. Lock up the dog.
What?
Those relatives. Oh,
I'm
what?
sorry.
We all are.
And those relatives are like a massive lump of magic-resisting toxin, and they'll be intruding in on us. If you bump into them, your soul will evaporate in an instant.
I am already dead. Evaporating would be no detriment.
Can't have that happen. Please, for the sake of the Shurimya family, lend us your strength just a little longer.
Natsui. It seems the boat carrying the relatives has left the harbor. Perhaps it's time to bring an end to this walk of yours.
That's so. Thank you. Please return to the study, Father.
My. How tiresome to go back inside when the weather is this perfect.
Don't grumble, Kenzo. Right now you're nothing more than a ghost I gave life to. It'll be troublesome for both me and Nazi if you're scattered away by the toxin. Just be a good boy and shut yourself away in the study and wrap a blanket around yourself or something.
Merely receiving the chance to enjoy these roses after death makes me an extremely fortunate man. I understand. I shall return to the study. But I would like some black tea. Cannon, tell Genji to bring me some. Perhaps a Marco Polo would do well today.
Certainly.
Then let us go our separate ways. Natsui, you must conduct the family conference splendidly in my absence.
Of course, Father. He can't say it in front of them, but my husband is already the Shurima family head. And I will do all I can to ensure that I don't embarrass him as his wife.
Compared to Kraus, who's had a stomachache since this morning, you are so very composed, Natsui. My son is quite hopeless.
My husband is talented in his own way. Supporting him where he's weak is my duty as his wife.
Indeed. Carry out your task with precision. I'll make sure to stay shut away so that I don't get in the way of this farce.
Cannon? Go with Father to the study. And then have Genji prepare some black tea.
I'm not so senile that I need your help to stand up. Here I go.
Refusing Cannon's attempt to lend him a hand, Kinzo rose from the flower bed he had been sitting on. The retired had left everything in Natsuhi's hands and returned to the study at a gentle pace.
You're looking well. He possessed a sense of dignity reminiscent of Kenzo's deceased wife.
On the off chance that the magic resistant toxin does reach Father, will the magic dissolve in an instant?
Indeed. In the blink of an eye. I can vanish whenever I please. But if someone already dead, such as Kenzo, loses his form, he'll be instantly tossed away like dust by the winds and the sun. You must take care.
Yes. I understand.
You may have Kellen as a witch. The magic-resisting toxin has been building up in your system over the years. And yet, you're able to still understand magic. If you and I had met during your youth, you might have become a powerful witch by now.
I am the wife of Ashurmia Kraus, the family head. I would become even a witch or a demon to protect his honor. I am deeply grateful for the power of your magic. I wouldn't have been able to protect the honor of the Ashurmia family without you.
Let's discuss that at another time. I'd like to enjoy it with just the two of us women drinking tea.
A friend of mine who went to Sri Lanka sent me some black tea with a wonderful rose fragrance.
Oh, you mean Dimbula? That isn't bad. Then you should also have some patis on the side. You must serve me some as a reward if I manage to trick everyone for this entire family conference. It's a promise.
Understood. I promise. Then I'll see you later.
Yes, later.
Wow, wow, wow. The witch made her body crumble into the rustling winds, became gold flower petals and scattered into thin air. Natsuhi watched her go, then turned on her heels and headed for the mansion. And then there were none left in the rose garden.
Okay then. It's break time. Got any complaints so far?
None at all.
Okay.
If you have to pee, why not just go and do it?
What a rude thing to say. Kenzo is already dead, right? But he's walking and talking, isn't he? Doesn't that mean this is magic? Of course I doubt this move would work on you after all this time, Baron. But what about you, Battler? Isn't this weird? Don't you have to accept the existence of the magic that revived Kenzo?
If you're trying to imitate Beato, it's pissing me off. So stop it right now.
Figured it out? Then come on, how are you gonna answer, Battler? Kenzo was just out for a stroll. Why not act like you always do and start holding your head crying, "This makes no sense"? Come on, let's hear that "it's all useless" catchphrase and give me one of your classic nonsensical counter-arguments. There's no way a human who's supposed to be dead could be walking around, right? Is this all because of some unknown virus called the Rokujima syndrome that causes mass delusions? Or do the scales of a mysterious form of butterfly that only lives on Rokujima happen to be hallucinogenic? Whew. Or is it all a mysterious secret organization called the Mountain Dogs made of yet an undiscovered drug called Puyo, which causes mass delusions. Let me hear tons of this wonderful crap.
Just shut up. This isn't even a problem. Grandfather is dead at this point in time. There's no way he exists. The only reason he's able to act like this is like he's alive like this is because of Natsuhi's lie. Her attempt to make it through the family conference while hiding grandfather's death.
Oh? It's Natsui's lie? You can revive the dead by lying? Wouldn't that make it Natsui's magic?
This world is like a brawn tube before you looked into it. It's the world of a cat box before you open it. As long as Natsuhi says that she took a walk with grandfather, and as long as no one can confirm that it's a lie, it's possible to display on Natsuhi taking a walk in the rose garden with grandfather as Natsuhi's reality. It means it's possible for grandfather to appear. The extremely unflattering applause was coming from Burncastle.
Bravo. You're much calmer without Beato around.
Quiet. You shut up too.
Wait a second, Battler. According to your theory, sure it might really be possible for Kinzo to appear if Natsui is the only person there. If Natsui claims to have observed Kinzo in a world with no one except Natsui in it, then no one can deny it, right? But Canon was in the same place and he was also looking at Kinzo, right? How would you explain that?
That's no problem at all. Canon-kun is a servant who works for the Ishimiya family. Natsuhi probably ordered him to keep up her story so that she could hide grandfather's death. Because of that, Canon can see grandfather even though he shouldn't exist, just like Natsuhi can.
Too bad, Lambda. Battler isn't going to fall for that kind of child's play anymore.
Seems so.
Dead face.
Well, this is nothing more than an opening before the games really get started. Like an aperitif before a meal.
An appetizer at a bar. Green tea at a sushi restaurant.
Shut up. So we aren't gonna get anywhere unless I say it again in blue text, huh?
Looks like it. Would you mind?
The reason grandfather is strolling around like nothing happened even though he's already dead is that people who want to make it seem as though he's alive create an illusion of him. People who think the same way can share in that illusion. And they'll talk as though grandfather actually exists and was with them until a second ago. That's why he's strolling around like it's perfectly natural. Because of this, the illusion of grandfather is unable to appear in front of people who aren't in on this with Aunt Natsuhi. That's why they made up the story of him shutting himself away in his study and refusing to come out. In the games before now, grandfather's always locked himself up in his study. We never met him directly. However, some people said things that made us think he was locked up in his study in a bad mood. They're just claiming to have met him only a short while ago. We accepted their statements and believed that grandfather was in the study. That's why it was possible for an illusion of grandfather to exist in the study. That's right. In the games before now, the only people who met grandfather were Uncle Kraus, Aunt Natsuhi, and the servants. Because they all stuck to the same story. An illusion of grandfather was able to exist on this island, making it seem like he was alive. He even showed us a scene at the beginning of the game, where Natsuhi convinced Dr. Nanjo and the rest to cover up grandfather's death. I'm not gonna fall for a cheap trick like that after all this time.
Well, not bad. But I was hoping for the unknown drug Pura Pura Pico Puyo.
There's no way he'd say something so ridiculous, right? After all, supposing that such a thing exists would be just as bad as surrendering to the fantasy genre. Whether it's a virus or a drug or an illness, anything that hasn't been discovered yet is in violation of Nox's fourth commandment.
What do you mean, fourth commandment?
Nox's fourth. It is forbidden for unknown drugs or difficult to understand scientific devices to be used. The rule states that such things can't be used during a murder.
What the hell? Unknown drug X and unknown scientific device X should be the best kind of weapons to use when fighting against the witch.
John?
John?
Sorry, notes. That's what I'm talking about. All of those violate the rules of a proper mystery. Supposing an unknown virus, an unknown drug, an unknown sickness, or an unknown XXX was used puts it totally in the fantasy genre. My condolences. If that was your theory, then it's game over for you.
Hey, what are you talking about?
You think you've been fighting in a direction opposition to Beato. But that's not actually true. You haven't been in direct opposition. You've been fighting along with her from a slightly different angle. All this playing detective you've done hasn't been fantasy versus mystery. It's only been fantasy versus anti-fantasy.
Kind of a clue what you're talking about. There's one thing I do get. I don't think you're saying that there's something wrong with my fighting style.
We're fighting to kill the fantasy known as the illusion of the witch. That means interpreting this tale as a proper mystery. In other words, from the very start, we have to ignore any and all elements that violate the taboos of the mystery genre.
Ignore, you say?
For example, several closed-room murders have occurred in the game before now, right?
Yeah.
At every single crime scene, you enthusiastically check with Beato to make sure there are no hidden doors, right? Then that leads to a flashy bunch of red truths weaving together all over the place. Almost as though that itself is the battle. I call that a waste of time. After all, it's clearly specified in Nox's third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. In the mystery genre, hidden passages mustn't exist. So, if you want to interpret everything as a proper mystery, entering this whole debate over whether there are hidden doors or not means you've lost from the beginning. See? After all, there aren't any. As soon as you suspect that they might exist, it's already game over for you. In other words, you assume you can't start theory building just because no one's yet proven that hidden doors don't exist at the crime scene. That's why I call you naive and a failure at the mystery genre. You've already lost once you start thinking that. You thought you were waging a fight to interpret everything like a mystery novel, right? Then you've got to follow the conventions of the mystery genre. Well, that's it in a nutshell. Hidden doors must not exist at any of the crime scenes. That means any time spent asking whether they exist or not is wasted.
I think I know what you're talking about. I've heard about it somewhere. Is this like the 10 basic rules for mystery novels or something?
Yeah, that's right. They're the 10 wedges for drilling witches brandished by Nox, the peerless archbishop of witch hunting. And those are the true weapons which to fight and defeat the fantasy known as the illusion of the witch head on. It's just like you, Byrne, to bring such a troublesome weapon. That's the fantasy genre's archenemy.
So deny the existence of hidden doors right from the start, without even investigating the crime scene. Sounds more like fantasy to me.
Lambda, who's in charge of the witch's side is fantasy. I'm the one who's fighting her mystery. What are you? You're just barely anti-fantasy, doing nothing but dodging over and over and denying fantasy. You're opposed to absolutely everything, but you can't make any counter-proposals. You're like a politician from some country.
Shut up. I didn't come here to speak gibberish with you two. Continue the story right now.
Be quiet. That sleeping princess behind you looks like she's in pain, doesn't she?
When he turned around, he saw Beato's living corpse resting in the chair. However, sweat glistened all over her body. It felt as if she was breathing a little harder than normal. She looked as though she was suffering from a high fever. Beato, what's wrong? Are you okay?
What do you mean, is she okay? You sure some weird things. Aren't you fighting to kill this girl? We run this fifth game for your benefit.
I don't know what you just said.
Nope. Sorry. We rewound this fifth game for your benefit, but right now, Byrne has done a good job cornering her opponent and is about to break through the illusion of the witch. Her existence has been almost completely denied. It's only natural that she's suffering.
Just now. Even you smashed the illusion of the witch by saying there's no way Kinzo exists. Here's the proof that your attack reached Beato. This agony of hers.
I tried to at least wipe away the sweat on Beato's forehead with a handkerchief. It's true I promised Beato that I'd let her die. But it was supposed to happen peacefully. I wasn't planning to make her suffer first. My goal is to make the sleeping Beato suffer like this before killing her. As if they had seen right through my mixed feelings, two witches grinned.
Dad only overheard because you kept yelling about the inheritance, right, Anarchy? Con.
1 second.
Con, you might want to keep notes till later.
Right.
To not break up the pace.
It isn't my fault it was an unlucky coincidence, okay? He just happened to be in the corridor and heard. It was an accident, I tell you, an accident!
Could you two give it a rest? Just call it our bad luck this time and give it up. If you leave a man alone, his mood will pop up right back up to normal.
Hopefully Father's feelings weren't hurt so much that he writes up some strange will.
The relatives took a deep breath and fell silent.
Hey, you can't jump around either, Maria. What'll you do if Anji-chan falls?
Sorry to keep you waiting. The boat is ready.
Oh, sorry, I was looking away for a second. Alright, let's go. Won't get anywhere by complaining now.
We eagerly await your return to this island. Oh no!
God damn it!
Do you eagerly await your return to this island now?
Get surfing.
Wait, was it only for that moment?
Okay, now it's done. We're good. We're good.
Hot damn!
Natsuhi was sitting on a bench in the rose garden, looking completely worn out. However, when she noticed that Kennen and Kumasawa were coming back, she immediately sat up straight, regaining the dignity of the head's wife.
Both leave.
Yes. It departed just minutes ago.
I see. Good job seeing them off. What is my husband doing?
He returned to his room shortly after. He's resting.
Since the previous day, Kraus had been almost overwhelmed by anxiety over the thought that Kinzo's death might be discovered. When the family conference ended, his weariness must have suddenly gotten a hold of him. However, the way he had refused to let even a sliver of his true intention slip out, and the manner in which he had managed to act as though everything was normal, showed that Kraus's nerve was nothing to sneeze at.
How was it? Did he seem to notice anything suspicious about father?
Roller.
Jealousy.
Shelly on the stage.
Not at all. Eva-sama and the rest were having a big ruckus over how the master overheard them talking about the inheritance. Right. Wasn't their panicking just priceless?
Yes. They were quite shaken up.
But Kumasawa, you really are quite an actress. The way you acted all panicked in the corridor made it seem like father really was there.
Kumasawa-san is quite talented at that sort of thing.
Oh, now, I don't deserve such praise. Oh.
I always have to give Genji strict orders to not easily swallow your stories when you call in sick.
Now that's just too harsh, madame. Oh. Now I'm just picturing Kumasawa doing the Ojo-sama laugh.
I think it's like a kind of like a weak granny laugh, like.
How's that?
You really did.
I think like softer, I would say.
Keep moving, people. Come on.
Okay.
Wow.
You really did a good job. Both of you, as well as Genji and Shannon. We'll get your pay for a month's worth of past vacation time, as well as 5 extra days, just as promised. Consider this a confidential benefit. Talk with Genji when you collect your pay so that the other servants don't find out.
We understand. Right.
Kumasawa-san, your voice is too loud.
I was talking really quietly, Kevin. Okay. Oh, not good. Not good.
Good point. Let's leave it at that for the time being. We should all return to our regular duties. That's right. I've had Goda prepare some special tea. Tell him to serve it.
Natsuhi let them know she wanted to be left alone for a while, so she could drink some black tea in the rose garden. The black tea that had been carried all the way to the bench was the Sri Lankan tea dimbula that she had promised Beato, along with some patis. Sitting on the other side of the snack, staring at it curiously, the wife of the head and her witch could be seen.
No, this is patis. I just assumed it would be some kind of baked sweet.
Apparently, Natsuhi, not realizing that it had a curry-like, spicy flavor, had started choking after putting it in her mouth. To describe it in Japanese terms, it was like a fried dumpling stuffed with mashed curry-flavored potatoes. As a household dish, it would probably be pretty popular with the kids. However, it was something of a shock to Natsuhi, who expected that a treat to go with tea would be sweet.
Didn't you know? Dimbula always goes with this. Black tea always goes with cookies. Oh, but chocolate is good too. You must have sweet bean jelly with Japanese tea, although salted konbu also works. Chinese tea goes with Chinese dumplings. Though I like mooncakes too.
Surprise. You know a lot about various cultures, don't you?
Well, I haven't been living 1,000 years for nothing. I've tried refined teas from all over the world. Perhaps you could call it a journey through the world of tea.
It does seem like it would be a wonderful way to travel the world. Before today, I never knew that one could enjoy tea like this. I will treasure this experience.
I cannot leave Rokkenjima. This is the only way I can travel. What about you? I'm sure you've elegantly traveled the world like any wealthy wife might.
Before Jessica was born, my husband took me to many countries. Before marrying, I never once traveled overseas, so each time was a fresh and new experience.
Humph. Sounds like you were also born into a very rigid family.
I was strict, but they gave me a wonderful upbringing. It would be rude to my father and my mother to call it rigid.
That's a pretty eloquent way to call it rigid.
Cross might have pitied Natsuhi, or might have wanted to take her away from the rigid Ishimiya family for a little bit and let her rest. Or he might have simply wanted to take his wife around countries he knew well to show off everything that he knew.
Unlike father, my husband is fond of Asian nations. Hong Kong, Taiwan, Korea, Thailand. I think we also went to Malaysia.
That gross! Was he trying to rebel against Kinzo's Western tastes? But Asia is good too. After all, the Japanese are strongly influenced by the West. When they think of foreign countries, only Western ones come to mind. But you mustn't forget the East.
I myself know a few things about the West, but I know very little about the East. I seem to recall my husband making fun of me now and then during our travels.
Beato subtly peered into Natsuhi's heart as the latter grumbled that the trips had all been very tiring.
Are you listening? This is called an areca nut. It's a popular luxury food item around here.
It looked like a small, round, gourd-like nut that had been smashed with cucumber wedged in it. At a glance, it looked as though it would probably taste like pickles.
I see. So I just bite it here?
As she tried to bite into the one that her husband was holding, he suddenly moved it away. It felt kind of embarrassing, like she was a fish after some bait.
Whoa, wait up! You have to eat it in a certain way. Yes, you are supposed to bite it. Bite it. Chew it. But don't swallow it.
Huh? Even though you bite and chew it, you can't swallow it?
That's right, yes. Bite and chew. But don't swallow. And don't drink the juice. It'll make your stomach hurt.
I don't understand. Why would you eat something like that?
Think of it as something like gum. Chew it and enjoy the flavor. Then take the scraps you've bitten and the juice and spit it out into a paper cup, like this. Pih.
Here. The inside of your mouth is bright red. Wipe it off! Wipe it off!
Even her favorite handkerchief, which she had wiped Krause's mouth with, had bright red marks on it. Something that's poisonous if eaten or drunk, and makes the inside of your mouth so bright red, and having to spit something out after you've put it in your mouth. How indecent! Thinking this, Natsuhi had adamantly refused Krause's invitation.
No way, no way. I don't need any. I don't need any.
This is a cross-cultural experience. What's the point of traveling if we don't do things that can only be done here?
Krause kept chewing, ignoring the fact that even his lips were being colored bright red.
Father likes these too. He must have ordered them long ago because he used to chew away at them on the mansion's terrace. Although it seems he stopped ever since you arrived. Look here, Father, the person you respect even more than me enjoyed these all the time. Look, don't be shy, take some.
No, stop it. Stop it, dear.
During travel, Krause had the innocence of a child. He didn't even conceal his jealousy of the respect Natsuhi normally gave to Kinzo. Just being able to see that side of her husband made her traveling all the way to another country worthwhile. Krause urged her even harder to bite it. But Natsuhi, undaunted, ran from place to place and finally yelled that he was being too pushy. Krause was miffed the whole bus ride. But a child little living like this get him down. Natsuhi thought, exasperatedly. Then a native tour guide in the bus took out one of those archaea nuts and started explaining about it. It had apparently been a beloved luxury item in these parts ever since ancient times, similar to tobacco. Just like in Natsuhi's case, it was starting to be disliked by young people and was becoming obsolete. Furthermore, it was treated as a good luck charm in this area. It was known as a symbol for couples. She looked at her husband's face. He turned away abruptly, but it looked like his cheeks had gotten a little red.
So you then leaned on your husband and held his hand, did you? What the heck? You and your husband share a pretty pure love, don't you? Did you get all fired up? You know, like that night?
Red-faced and avoiding Beato's eye, Natsuhi tried to hide her embarrassment by swallowing the patis whole, chewing with her cheeks puffed out like a blowfish. Beato said,
Yep, this is the best snack anyone could have with tea.
and nodded several times, a broad smile on her face. Da-na-na.
However, that's only how it was when we were newlyweds. Right now, I cannot even leave Rakenjima. I'm a bird in a cage.
Well, it's the same for me. I can keep dying, but I just can't escape Rakenjima. I'm also a bird in a cage.
I don't know much about you, and I won't pry. However, I do see that you face circumstances not to be taken lightly.
I have no desire to act like the chief prisoner here. Let's be friendly as fellow birds in this cage. I've taken a liking to you.
Really? Thank you.
The instructions and orders you gave to the servants for this family conference were superb. You took everything from where Kinzo would be and when, what he did with what you left behind, and put it all together splendidly without any contradictions. That detailed written plan of yours had the same beauty as a high-level magic circle.
To make it look like Kinzo actually existed and was living life his own way. She had written his schedule for the day down to the finest detail, made the servants follow it to the letter. When did he meet whom and where, and what did he leave them? When did he do what and where, and what changed? The result, even though the relatives never saw Kinzo even once, they hadn't suspected in the slightest that he hadn't been there. Ave and the rest truly believed that Kinzo had just happened to be walking through through the hall when he heard them talking about the inheritance and went into a rage. Everything had gone just as Natsuhi planned and predicted, and to the finest detail. And the cooperation by the servants had also worked smoothly down to the finest detail.
We had to stop this secret from getting out, no matter the cost. That's why I double-checked the plan thoroughly.
Beast.
Your willpower and attention to detail summon success with certainty. As a witch, it seems that you're in Lady Lambda Delta's camp. At your current level, as soon as you become self-aware of that as magic, you will be worthy of calling yourself a witch apprentice.
If you call something like that magic, then it would make Kumasawa the witch of feigned illnesses. It's only on busy days that she calls us to say she's taken a day off because of her bad back. Like every year's family conference, for example.
Oh no, you've got Kumasawa completely wrong there. She's a witch of a much, much higher level.
I believe the term is taking notes right now.
1 second, I'm not taking notes. My sister walked in my room.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I noticed that there was no... Oh, go ahead.
What was with the Kermit the Frog?
I don't know, I'm just bored, man. Keep going.
Wow.
If you knew what she really was, it would shock you.
watching these two have a pleasant chat. Another pair with steam rising from their black tea. However, the second pair was in a world that was the first couldn't see, where golden roses bloomed. Runaway was kind enough to make us some of that Dimbula tea, too. It felt as though Beato muttered something. The first time it felt as though something had gotten through to her. Surely she had taken an interest in the black tea and felt like drinking it. Thinking this, Bella took Beato's cup and her hand, making her hold the cup. Beato's eyes trembled sadly, and her fingers shook. Almost as though she couldn't even move her fingers as she wanted to. And was mourning the fact that she could no longer enjoy the tea she had once loved by her own power. That's how she looked. So Badler put his hand on Beato's, grabbed hold of the teacup, and lifted it to her lips. Then, though it was only a single mouthful, Beato sipped. The days that they'd been locked in the killing fest with red swords and blue wedges already seemed like a distant past. Now, not only was Beato unable to do that, it was even difficult for her to make her body do as she pleased. Even just drinking a mouthful of black tea like this was hard. How is it? The rose aroma makes for a great black tea. Do you like it? Of course, Beato didn't respond. What happened to you? Is this another strategy? Are you pretending to be in a slump so you can shock me later? If that's what you're after, the same trick won't work again. So give it a rest. I can't get fired up with you like this. Hey. Is it about time for you to start laughing loudly, saying, "Caught you, dumbass," or something? Any kind of joke stops being funny if you drag it out too much. Especially if it's a rehash. Laugh. It's like you're cackling over there as you drink with that Nazi. Can't you at least grin?
I want this for kill you.
Never again. This child will never laugh again.
Sudden words were exceedingly cruel.
Pretty sure that was Burn.
Oh, was that? Ah, shit!
Ah, shit!
I was burned the whole time.
Never mind, Connie, you want to say that really quickly?
Never again. This child will never laugh again.
How can you say that for sure? Don't you try to take Beato's right to laugh away from her.
Oh, should I say it in red then?
I shook my head furiously. Then with an expression that didn't reveal her thoughts in the slightest, Bernkastel spoke while looking at Beato's face, and the words she used were completely incomprehensible to me.
Congratulations.
For what?
Beato is like this as a result of your victory.
What are you talking about?
You said something interesting in a previous game. You said this would be torture, where you both torment each other. That was right. It's torture for Beato as well. And you won that torture game. That's why Beato's soul was killed, why she became a doll-like corpse.
Are you saying I did this to Beato?
The battle ends when one of you loses the will to try and win. As far as the battle between you and Beato goes, that was already concluded in the previous game. Well, it probably happened without you noticing, though.
In that case, why isn't the game ended if I've already won? Why is this game still continuing?
The shackle attached to that girl's ankle. That's a rule Lambda made.
Even if Beatrice tries to yield or get discouraged or gives up, she's incapable of stepping down from the game. That's the rule. Maybe it's a curse.
In the past, I supported you when it looked like you were gonna give in. Though you probably couldn't perceive it. I assisted you by giving you hints and making things go your way. That's why you're able to be here now. Remember? Remember how I saved you?
Berncastle stared at me. It's true I wasn't aware of it. But just maybe, I was saved by her.
In the same way, Lambda is supporting Beato. And this time, Beato is on the verge of giving in. That's why Lambda's been giving her support this round, to keep her from giving in. That's what the shackle is. By refusing to let her resign, she's rescued Beato within the game.
Rescued her from what?
Normally, there are only two ways for this game to end. Either one side will accept defeat and resign, or one side will win the game with a checkmate. Beato was about to collide with the first way. That's why Lambda crushed that chance and managed to just barely avoid losing. By the rules of this game, that's an impressive bit of support.
The only way this game can end now is if I win. At the very least, until I do win. The Switch name called Lambda Delta can probably try to buy time for Beato to make a comeback. That'll just prolong Beato's suffering even more. Neither of us want that. Both Beato and I fought with all we had, trying to win. The game repeated several times because we were both giving it everything we could muster. Then that one time, we confronted each other head-on with all of our strength. And Beato acknowledged her loss. She said that she wanted me to end this game, and trusted everything to me. So Berncastle's words are the truth. That it's my fault Beato became a living corpse. That's true. Something both of us wanted. Our match has already been resolved. Even so, the game won't end. That's why Beato put her trust in me. She made it win quickly and end this game. Now that the game's been resolved, letting it continue any further means endless torture for Beato. Nothing more than a nightmare. Gotta give her a perfect checkmate. And end this game in the truest sense. And let her rest in peace. For that reason, I'll keep fighting. But by continuing the game, Beato's eternal torture will continue. Although I can only let her sleep peacefully by slowly strangling her to death. So I feel like the truth doesn't matter anymore. As long as Beato's satisfied, who cares what happens in the game? Beato resigned. I'll abandon the truth of the illusion of the witch and return home with my family. Is there anything wrong with that? If only Lambda hadn't placed that curse of that shackle on her, this battle would be over already. So I found detestable. This game, which I can't finish without tormenting Beato more, is detestable.
What's this? Beato's starting to look like she's in pain every time you get closer to the truth, so you're suddenly going easy on her? Then go easy on her as much as you can. And why don't you just let Beato win while you're at it? Then your little sister can have a lonely, tragic future forced on her endlessly.
It's not how it is. That's right. I have to return for Angie's sake as well. This isn't the time to start feeling compassion for Beato.
In that case, make sure you kill her. Kill this witch without fail.
Even though Beato was right there, Bernkastel spoke without holding back.
Your goal is to kill this woman. In the last game, you said it at Beato's request. You said, "I'll kill you."
Yeah, that may be true. Doesn't mean you get to complain about it.
Did you know? When you tear one of your fingernails out, it's better to do it in one go. Pulling it out like you do, timidly, twisting, and slow, hurts much, much more. What you're doing sounds much more like torture to me. If you have any compassion, kill her all at once. That's how killing works.
That's none of your business. I'm the one who decides how to perform her last rites. You said that and Lambda Delta Witch. You said that you and that Lambda Delta Witch have nothing to do with this. I'll kill her. I won't let anyone else do it.
As long as you don't lose that willpower. I'm betting on you. Okay? Make sure you don't forget. Unless this game is resolved, you will never be released. You won't be allowed to abandon this game either.
I get it.
I know what Lambda's after. She wants to make you lose your will to fight just like Beato. To make you a pair of living dolls, to keep this world in perpetual equilibrium. You don't want that, do you? I wouldn't like it either.
Why should I give a damn about what you want? Still, I won't throw this game away. I want to abandon my responsibility to fight against Beato.
I'm glad our goals are the same. So, you'll be able to kill this child without any hesitation, right?
That's right. I have no way of knowing whether those words ease their pain or hurt her. But I can tell by the dull tingling in my chest. I surely believe I've hurt her. I have no way of knowing what the silent Beato feels. If I think I've hurt her, does that mean that she's actually been hurt? And if I didn't think I'd hurt her, would that mean that no one's gotten hurt because of me?
So, about that Beato who's drinking over there with Natsuhi. You can handle that, right?
Yeah, no problem.
It's the same as it was with Kinzo. Beatrice doesn't exist. This is a fake illusion of a witch that Natsuhi created, since she believes she was borrowing a witch's power when she thought up a brilliant plan to overcome hardship. It only looks like they're drinking together. Because Lambda Delta, who's the game master, and the one telling the story, interpreted it that way. If you could stare at this scene without a fragment of love for Natsuhi, you wouldn't see an illusion like that. That's why with my eyes, all I can see is Natsuhi all alone, drinking her tea in silence.
Without love, it cannot be seen. As love is lacking, it cannot be seen.
You're looking at a daydream, Natsuhi. Beatrice doesn't exist there.
Ida mumbled softly. The small voice that made her sound like she was in pain. The thorn of Bernkastel's truth had stabbed into her chest. Yeah, that's probably true. I think your theory's right. But don't say that in front of Beato.
It doesn't matter where I say it. This is Beato's world we're in.
Also, it's not like I'm protecting Beato. But it's still possible Anatsi really is drinking tea with some unknown person X who calls himself Beatrice. The scene takes place a year before everything. The number of people on the island and the day has never been shown with the red truth.
Sure. Even Lambda has said and hasn't said anything in red about the number of people in Rokenjima on this day.
In that case, it's possible for Anatsi to claim that she really did drink tea with a woman calling herself Beatrice. Just like I can't deny your theory, you can't deny mine. It means you can't say for sure whether the Beato there is an illusion or not.
Oh, is this catbox theory? That might have worked on Beato, but it won't work on me.
Why not?
After all, Natsuhi is drinking tea all by herself right there.
There's a violent sound of glass breaking. And the Beato who laughed happily and cracked jokes about Natsuhi's newlywed years was erased. A lonely wind blew, and the one person who remained on the bench drinking tea with a tired expression was Aunt Natsuhi, all by herself. Beato groaned. You could see clearly that she was in anguish. The illusion of the witch had been smashed, driving Beato towards death. In short, this is what the battle to let Beato rest in peace is all about. A second ago, Burncastle likened our fight to the torture of tearing fingernails out. I have to try them out anyway. My last bit of compassion towards Beato should be to minimize that pain. In other words, even if I want to minimize her pain, I still have to cause it. I have to accept that look of anguish on her face. At the same time, here's what a merciless thing the red truth was. Right now, in this rose garden, there's no one except Aunt Natsuhi. In other words, there are no observers except for Aunt Natsuhi. So if that lone observer were to say that she had some tea with Beato, no one should be able to refute that. If there's something no one can deny, doesn't that mean it's truth? And Natsuhi is enjoying the roses and drinking tea together with Beato. How can anyone have the right to mercilessly trample that pleasant moment? The red truth is like a blade. In a battle with a witch, it's a blade that can sometimes tear your theories apart. It sometimes becomes a weapon you can fight back with.
I know. So what?
Don't use it without reason. Blade is a tool if you use it when you're supposed to. But it's a weapon if you use it out of malice. Sure enough, Aunt Natsuhi wasn't really drinking tea with a witch. But for saying that with the red truth probably had nothing to do with our game. Our game is the tale of October 1986. The news of the crime give us more than enough time to injure each other, with our red and blue blades glistening. It's not about the illusion of the witch. It's about Aunt Natsuhi's privacy. How can anyone have the right to expose that?
Do you want to acknowledge that a witch actually existed here and drank tea with Natsuhi? Weren't you trying to deny the existence of witches?
That's right. We're talking about our game, the 2-day period from October 4th to October 5th in 1986. But I have no desire to question whether or not witches exist outside that game board. In the first place, the devil's proof argument makes it impossible to deny the existence of witches. And according to the rules of this game, saying something like what you did in red is a forbidden move and that leads to a stalemate. You can't deny the existence of witches, not even with the red truth.
True. I never thought I'd hear you talk so glibly about witches existing. Not bad, Lambda. You've done a good job getting Battler stuck between his human culprit theory and the idea that witches existing wouldn't be so bad. She really excels in controlling human hearts. Looks like I'd better start helping you out even more.
I really couldn't care less about you two. Disappear. This game is between Beato and me. We're gonna keep this game to ourselves.
No way.
What?
After all, I'm enjoying this game too.
Burton Castle disappeared, leaving only that unpleasant laugh behind. After that, all remained was Natsuhi sipping tea alone. Beato, her hand still on the teacup as she stared blankly at the surface of the liquid. And me. Burton Castle and the Delta. Really called them your friends, but you should really choose your friends more carefully. Oh wait, maybe that should make a good match with an ill-natured person like you. Beato didn't answer. Rattler took Beato's hand, made her hold the cup again, and brought it to her lips. Beato made a quiet sound in her throat and drank another gulp. Then, Natsuhi's lonely tea time ended. That truth, which was Natsuhi's alone and observed by no one else, had been defiled. In Natsuhi's world, surely. That tea party, which had been peaceful despite her annoyance with Beato, making fun of her too much, came to an end, and the two of them parted ways. However, in Natsuhi's exposed truth, she was all alone. Natsui tottered away. On that bench, only a single person's cup remained.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
That one hurt.
Yeah.
Also, how was the burn laugh?
Good. You're doing good.
Sweet.
After dashing to her bedroom, Jessica answered the phone call that had been transferred there.
Ah! Hello? Sorry to keep you waiting. Battler! What'd you think you're doing? Not contacting us for 6 years. How's it going? What's that? Oh, really? How the hell do I know? Shut up! Oh, so that means you'll be coming to this year's family conference, right? I mean, it's been 6 whole years.
Five businessmen in expensive suits were visiting in the parlor, giving Kraus and Natsuki a progress report on their business. Spread on the table were the blueprints and designs for a building, as well as documents related to the expenditures and the like. So packed that even a teacup would have gotten in the way. Officially, they were here to give Kraus a progress report. But in actuality, Kraus had called them all the way over to Rokenjima so that Natsuki could hear from them directly. This is because Natsuki needed to hear something other than her husband explain what condition their business was in. In other words, even though another family conference without Kinzo was approaching, their business had not yet earned them any more money. After telling the guests to wait for a short while, Kraus took Natsuki out to the hall and once again summarized the situation.
In short, they say the work is proceeding better than we imagined. This is where my personal connection to the governor really starts to pay off. By now, it's absolutely impossible for this catch to get away from us. To the contrary, it's growing so big that in one go we'll be able to regain not just that power of attorney, but everything we've lost up to this point as well.
Kraus spoke passionately. It made it seem all the more suspicious to Natsuhi. But this time, at least, she had to admit that everything really did seem to be going well. Certainly, this business Kraus boasted of had expanded in scope over the last year, and was promising an even greater payoff than had been anticipated. Whether or not it would prove to be a winner or not, investors had gathered around it, and they were rapidly gaining funds. No. This is what they meant when they said that money summons people. Or money summons money. Of the greatest success of Kraus's life so far. No, it probably would be his greatest success yet. That point was where Natsuhi's misgivings lay. True, it was certain, and as Kraus had said, they wouldn't lose this catch now. However, the fish on the line had gotten too big.
We'll definitely be able to reel this fish in. There's no need to rush. It's such a success that I wish I could show it to Father if he were still alive.
Yes, I know. However, I believe you made me a promise last year. You said you were sure you could manage something within a year.
A pained look rose to Kraus's face. They certainly had hooked a fat fish that guaranteed great success. However, it would require an appropriate amount of time to reel it in. Natsuhi pressed Kraus in asking if there was any way for them to make money before this year's family conference. Kraus kept saying that he just needed one more year. Kraus planned to use this unprecedented success to catapult them further into further challenges in the future. Because of this, he didn't want to do anything that would raise suspicion by making it seem like they were rushing to get money. Certainly, fortune tends to turn against people who take it for granted even in the slightest. Anxious beggars never prosper. On many occasions, before now, Kraus had gotten cold feet and sold off businesses that would surely have brought in a profit had he just waited, and in effect given away his winning picks. Natsuhi also knew this. She knew that guts were the thing her husband lacked most. That's why she was unable to refuse when Kraus said he wanted to prudently wait just one more year.
How wonderful that things are going well. It would have been able to sit around here as a ghost for a little longer.
You don't look too disappointed. You're fated to be chewed to bits by demons the moment you leave this world.
My apologies, Father. For one more year, you might not be granted peace.
It's fine. Fear not, Natsuhi. I am no longer the Ashurmiya family head. The ghost of the study should obediently follow the current head's commands. I've taken a look at Kraus's charts, and they aren't bad at all.
Even from your perspective, Father?
They're pretty good, even from my perspective. Everyone is confident in victory, gathering together a significant quantity of magical power. As a result, that victory is growing ever deeper, involving more and more people in magic, beginning to create gold. A perfect embodiment of classic alchemy.
Oh. If earned even the Golden Witch's approval, this is very reassuring. Rejoice, Natsuhi! This business of Kraus's will save the Ashurmiya family from its crisis without fail!
Thank you very much. And if you would once again...
Indeed. We'll have to overcome one more family conference, won't we?
Yes. I think things went well last year, but I imagine some of the relatives will find it suspicious. I think this year's conference will be a critical time.
During last year's family conference, you were correct to predict that the same thing might have happened again, might have to happen again.
Don't get tongue-tied, dear. Even for those who aren't witches, preparing for the worst-case scenario is one of the basics for getting on in this world. So, what will you do this year?
Just like last year, I will see to it that the high concentration of the servants who know Father's secret are there on the day of the conference. Some of the relatives may already have noticed that Father isn't around. A careless show might actually put us in more danger of exposure.
Indeed. That too much is as bad as too little. Then what will you do?
Unlike last year, I think I'll go with a plan that has you staying inside to study until the end.
That would be suitable. Barricades are straightforward and simple. A final trump card.
No matter how strongly the toxin fills this mansion, as long as the closed room barrier remains around this room, it will be impossible to deny Kinzo's existence. I guarantee that myself. However, when forming a barricade, it is inevitable that you will be surrounded.
I know. Even so, I beg that both of you lend us your power just one more time.
I cannot disobey the orders of the new head. Furthermore, a ghost cannot disobey the orders of the living. If you tell me to leave this room, I will obey.
Thank you very much.
I'm not satisfied. If you want me to lend you my power, I won't listen to a mere request.
Yes. You are the family alchemist. So I won't ask you to help. I order you to help. Your magic is the one thing we can rely on. Use that power to create an illusion of Father just one more time.
Very well. I hear and obey. I find your confidence quite pleasing.
From the shadows of the study, Balor watched this exchange between these three. I see. We've made it to this year's family conference. Grandfather was in a bad mood, so he shut himself in his study and didn't appear in front of anyone. Natsui spoke boldly about how she would somehow overcome this year's crisis to protect the Ishirmia family's honor until the end, while Kinzo praised her, saying that her plan looked promising. Bieto also praised her, saying that Natsui's dignified confidence was even more well-suited for the headship than Kraus. However, right now, the true number of people in this room was... And when I thought that, no. Just because I thought it. Bieto grabbed at her chest and moaned. Don't worry. This is still outside the game board. Don't deny you or grandfather over there. My hand on Bieto as he tried to hold back the pain deep inside her chest. I've already told Burncastle. The 2-day period of the 1986 family conference is all you need to deny the illusion of the witch. In the last game you said in red that grandfather is dead at the start time for all games. However, you never mentioned whether grandfather was alive or dead before the starting time for these games. In short, even if grandfather exists in this place right now, it doesn't create any contradictions. A hand touching her let off a faint blue light, which seeped into her chest. That light tenderly wrapped itself around the splinters in Beato's chest. And I also can't deny the existence of the Beatrice in this place. The number of people on this island outside the game board, in other words, before October 4th, 1986, has not been declared in red. Therefore, there's nothing strange about Beatrice existing here. Beato's expression softened slightly. My blue light slowly began to melt the red splinters that denied the illusion of the witch. Beato still wore the same sad expression, but she lifted her face and looked me straight in the eye. Though she was silent, her eyes told me that her pain had subsided. The feeling that showed in her eyes was gratitude for taking the pain away. An appreciation. Or was it surprise? Even leaving it even a little bit of leeway for witches to exist. I had to look directly at those pure eyes of hers. I reflexively averted my gaze. Don't get the wrong idea. I don't plan on accepting the existence of witches or surrendering. I just want to let that part slide and fight stoically, so that I can win this game against you. No desire to bully you outside the game board as well. Beato hung her head. I was still facing away from her. However, we waited wordlessly for a while, my hand still on hers. By now, no one would believe that this sad-eyed woman, the same person as that prideful Beato. So I asked once more. Even though I said it aloud, it wasn't a question to her. I was asking myself. Just what in the world were you thinking? That's right. This is Lambda's game. I have to find you in here. I have to find what you thought, and what you were trying to do. Very soon, this game will also reach October 4th, 1986. The 5th game will finally begin. And this time, I'll reach the end. The end of that journey. I'm not worried about the surface level stuff like murders and tricks. What did you, the Golden Witch Beatrice, think? And why did you do what you did? What were you hoping for? That's what I'm gonna find out. That's right. I know I can reach the end of that journey. Made clear to me since the very beginning. This time, spin the chessboard around. I read this tale not from my side, but from yours. And this time, I'll understand you. I'll pick my way to your heart. I won't let you feel pain. Don't worry. I won't those witches use you as a toy anymore. He looked up at me again and gave a small nod. That's right. The position of Game Master might have been snatched up by Lambda Delta. However, as long as I continue this contest with the intent of fighting against Beato, our fight will continue no matter who controls the game board. Very soon, the curtains will rise on our game.
At this year's family conference, we must conceal the master secret once again.
Yes. I understand.
I'm a little doubtful that the same trick will work twice.
Madam shares your concern. Because of that, it was decided that this year, he will not leave his study even once.
In other words, make it seem like he's been shut away in his study the whole time?
Yes. And the only ones allowed to enter the study are the three of us, the servants permitted to wear the one-winged eagle.
Which means 3 of us will have to perpetuate the lie about the master.
Correct. The relatives will probably question you about the master's health and mood. Make sure you answer without hesitation, and see to it that nothing is seen as suspicious.
Yes. I understand.
I'm sure you'll screw up right away, Nason. Maybe it's better to say you have a cold or something so you can skip that day.
That's mean.
Cannon wasn't just making fun of her. He wanted to release Shannon from the burden of working on this most serious of days.
Genji-sama. Is it really necessary for Shannon to be on duty? We can manage things well enough without her.
That I cannot do. Madam gave strict orders that the three of us be scheduled to work on that day.
Yes. I am prepared to perform my duty successfully.
Don't screw up.
I won't.
Shannon grew sullen and Cannon shrugged. And Genji told him that they weren't taking this seriously enough.
Shannon, Cannon. The master we serve has already passed away. However, until he has truly passed on, we will continue to serve. That study is not empty. The master is still here, hard at work on his usual research. Make sure you take that to heart.
Yes,
Genji-sama.
Genji-sama.
Father has already passed away? That's insane!
Slow down. It's only a possibility. It's well known that Takeda Shingen said in his will that his death was to be kept a secret for 3 years. Know about that?
Is that how it went? My Japanese history isn't so great.
At the time, Takeda was in the middle of a war with Oda and Tokugawa. People learned about his death at a time like that. It'd probably have been bad. It'd probably have had a bad impact on the war. Because of that, he left a will saying that his death should be kept hidden for 3 years. Hideyoshi did the same thing, right? He totally suppressed information about the death of his master, Oda Nobunaga, so that the enemy couldn't find out. Quickly made peace with Mori. How's that pronounced?
Mori.
Mori, and defeated Akechi in the Battle of Yamazaki.
Hard in this voice.
On the other hand, Shibata Katsuie failed at this. The enemy
Uesugi
learned of Nobuyuki's death, so that Shibata had to deal with an unexpected counterattack and got slowed down. That's why later on he suffered a great loss against Hideyoshi in the fight for succession.
Good God, get some water, man.
It's a bit hard to say these prolonged. I can handle it.
Hideyoshi, who had a strong fascination with the commanders of the Sengoku period, would always.
Oh, I think that's Orange's part.
Hideyoshi, who had a strong fascination with the commanders of the Sengoku period, would always show off his knowledge when he got the chance. Wincing slightly, Ava made him get back to his point.
How much narration did I say?
So basically, the whole time since last year's family conference, I felt as though something was strange.
You mean the time when Rudolph and I were talking about the inheritance and Father overheard us from the hall?
Oh, jeez.
That's just it. Natsui-san and the servants kept saying Father was here or there, and it seemed he...
Why am I having a hard time?
And he seemed to be in a bad mood. Not a single one of us relatives saw Father, right?
If what you're thinking is right, what does that mean? Does it mean Nissan's trying to keep all of the inheritance for himself?
Of course, hiding someone's death is a very dangerous thing to do. And all things considered, I'm not sure Kraus-san would be willing to do it just to have the inheritance to himself. But it is possible.
Well, it's true that Nissan has always been greedy. He always used to take things that were meant for all of the siblings, keeping them all for himself.
Kraus-san is supposed to be the richest of the siblings. Kraus-san's scheming to keep Father's inheritance all to himself to the point of accepting the risk of hiding Father's death. Sounds a tad unbelievable to me. Even so, last year's family conference was so strange I can't help but wonder.
Orange.
Amos were painfully aware of how reckless it would be to try and see Kinzo when he was in a bad mood. During last year's family conference, once they heard about Kinzo getting into a terrible mood, they never made an attempt to contact him. That was why, to this very day, they hadn't found it suspicious that Kinzo had never appeared.
It certainly is worth suspecting. But I wonder if Nissan really would do something as appalling as hiding Father's death. For all his side, that man has a coward side to him. Would he really make such a once-in-a-lifetime bet?
Either way, it'd probably be a good idea to make sure we get a chance to meet with Father during this year's conference.
The rumors are really bad. Sounds like Anaki's failing business is even worse than we'd imagined. Like he's taken massive losses, and he's giving it all he's got just to try and cover it up.
And that'll make it very difficult to borrow money from him.
Yeah, I could cry.
Wouldn't being in financial stress also weaken Cross-san's position in certain ways?
Weaken his position? Well, investors tend to have a keen eye. If they hear that he's actually low on funds, they won't want to have anything to do with him.
I guess trust is the most important part of that business.
Kyrie smiled thinly. Rudolph was taken aback by the smile. He'd figured that his plan, which involved raising money to get him out of his current mess by borrowing from the affluent Kraus, would all come to nothing now that they knew Kraus himself was in financial trouble.
Confidence in Cross-san's abilities might be a requirement for his own business in the future. But it isn't necessarily necessary for our future.
Are you suggesting that I blackmail him?
I wouldn't want to if it were me. For one blood sibling to take another one down is no laughing matter.
Rudolph felt a shiver go up his spine at Kyrie's cold smile. At times, Kyrie was able to throw away all compassion and think in an extremely ruthless manner. Whenever he saw that, Rudolph knew he'd never like to have her as his enemy.
I'd rather not burden Oni-san if we had any other way to get money.
If there were another way, we wouldn't be worrying.
Don't you think it's a bit pathetic to waste time worrying about a problem when you have no other option?
Orange?
He still felt some of the terror he'd experienced thanks to Krause's violence when they were young. A little distracted at that moment, sorry. And now, the same Krause was the one he needed to threaten. Rudolph would also be fighting against his childhood trauma. So to give her husband a little push, Kyrie smiled reassuringly, and perhaps coldly.
I've never been a fan of doing work based on trust. It takes hard work to build up trust, but only an instant to lose it. There's no less profitable investment.
Oops, sorry. You got it already. Good. Whew.
You're right. All the trust in the world isn't worth a good banknote.
Even though Crossline has been taking on massive losses. You have to be capable of gathering enough money to buy us some time. Of course, he'd probably be forced to cash in all the trust he's built up so far.
This is gonna get ugly.
We'll have to prepare sufficiently. You haven't been given any time or room for failure. Isn't that right? Among my Kyoto friends, I know a few who are talented at this sort of investigation. I'd rather not be indebted to people like that, but do you want to try meeting them? You can't expect people like that to offer you receipts, but I'm sure they'll dig up something that'll make them worth the investment.
Yes. Maria is doing well too. That's none of your business. Thank you. Huh? Well, I'll have to look at my schedule.
Rosa was talking to Rudolph over the phone. Rosa rarely received calls from her older siblings, so she braced herself for something serious.
Well, truth is, I want to have a little talk about the next family conference without Anarchy.
Between you, me, and Ava Nesan? Sounds like a headache.
I can't go into details over the phone, but I think you'll find it's worth listening to.
Something good?
Of course. Anaki's all for it.
Nesan is?
That's right. All we want is your approval. We aren't gonna ask you for money or anything like that. The most important thing is that the three of us stick together. Got it?
So she did so because in the past, when Rudolph and Ava got into a fight with Kraus, they used to talk to her like this right before dragging her into it.
First, tell me. I stand to gain something too, yes?
Yep. The three of us will each grab 200 million out of this. If all goes well, we might even be able to squeeze out more. That should be enough to handle your debt, right?
And when can we expect to grab this by?
Of course, it'll be within a year. I need it. Anarchy needs it. And you need it too, Rosa. All three of our problems will be settled.
So, the chances of success are good enough that Naisans agree to it?
Now do you want to hear? I know it's a bit sudden, but let's meet Sunday, 19 o'clock at that coffee shop you like in Ginza. That's the only time Anaki's schedule and mine match. Any problems?
If we're talking 200 million, I'll have no choice but to listen. Then let's all meet at 7 p.m. next Sunday at Leopold's.
And Maria Chan? You can bring her too if you want.
Don't talk about money in front of that child!
She set the receiver down with a clunk a little violently. Apparently either Ava or Rudolph had gotten a hold of one of Kraus's weak points. They probably threatened him with that at the next family conference and forced him to pay up. Even before hearing the details, she knew full well that it would be nothing good. But even so, this might be her once-in-a-lifetime chance to pay back her large debts. Rose took a large notebook out of her handbag. Started to mark the days that she'd be meeting with Rudolph and Ava. Then she frowned and smacked herself hard in the forehead. Because written there was DLZ with Maria, something she had planned to do with her daughter. Maria's in her room, playing around excitedly with Sakutaro and the others. It's because she was going to go to that recently built amusement park, Disneyland, the following Sunday.
I'm going to Disney World!
Looking at the clock, Rose saw that it was just past 9 at night. Maria was breaking the lights out rule. After covering her face and agonizing for a while, Rose stood up and stomped over to Maria's room. It would probably be a mess as well. At least tonight that was convenient. I stood outside the door to Maria's room, listening to the happy laughter seeping through. Rosa's face twisted in anguish once again, and she looked at the floor. Then, when she raised her head again, her brow furrowed, and her face had become an ugly expression of anger. The weather wasn't that great. According to the weekend forecast, a certain tropical cyclone will likely grow into a large typhoon. If unhappy premonitions tend to be right, this year's family conference will probably take place in absolutely horrible weather. Oh?
No. I wish a typhoon large enough to stop all boat travel would steal Kanjima away forever. If that happened, I'd be able to hide Keynes' death as long as I wanted. If only the typhoon would keep them at the bay forever.
Natsume let out a deep sigh. Just doing that made her headache throb. As the day of the family conference approached, the intensity of her headache just kept on increasing. At that time, the phone rang. Natsume turned the TV off and picked up the receiver.
Hello?
Genji! I
On 'em.
apologize. Okay, I'm here, fuck. I apologize for calling during your rest. It is Genji.
Is something the matter?
There is a phone call for you from the external line. However, they will not state their name.
They aren't saying their name?
Yes. The person in question said you would know when you spoke with them. What should be done? It might be a prank.
What did they sound like?
I believe it was a young man. Any idea who it might be?
A young man.
Natsuki didn't have a clue who that might be. In the first place, there was no one amongst her acquaintances who would do something as rude as refusing to state their name. And on top of that, a young man. As a wife, she must avoid any contact that might be considered suspicious with anyone other than her husband, much less a young man. As soon as she thought this, the phone call suddenly seemed like something dirty. But despite that, she also wanted to know what they wanted to tell her. Could it be some kind of trouble related to Krause's business? But there was some particular reason they needed to talk to Krause's wife instead of Krause's directly. No matter what it is... Oh, it's you. Sorry.
No matter what it is my duty as a wife to listen and report to Krause. If it's some bizarre threat, I just have to firmly refuse and inform Krause that I received such a phone call. If it is something offensive, I just have to tell Genji to never send me anonymous calls again.
As Natsuki thought this, just as Genji was suggesting that he hang up on the man, as though that's what she'd naturally choose, told him to connect her to this person. She then set the receiver down. For a short while, the phone rang again.
Hello.
This wasn't the internal line. It was the external phone line, which Genji had redirected to her. It should already have been connected directly with the mysterious man. However, the person at the other end didn't respond. Not liking this at all, Natsuki spoke one more time, sounding displeased.
Hello? Who is this? Tell me your name.
She heard something sound like a sigh. She gulped reflexively. Remaining silent for a while longer, the man finally answered. It's been a long time, huh? That was the first time the man had spoken. Just how long has it been? How many years?
What are you talking about? Who are you?
The voice certainly did sound like a young man's. It's hard to learn much about someone just by their voice over the phone. Like a young man, but it might actually be a middle school-aged boy. Man in his prime who still had a youngish voice. No, wait. It might be too soon to be even sure this was a male. However, one thing was certain. Natsuki could think of no one who would speak to her in an overtly familiar manner like this. It'd be easy for me to tell you my name, but that would make me very sad.
I don't know what you're talking about. Who are you? And what business do you have with me? If you can't tell me that, I'm not interested. I'm hanging up.
What I want is for you to remember.
And what is it you're telling me to remember? I don't know you, so I have nothing to remember.
Please do not say that. I am your child, am I not?
Dun dun dun.
What did you say? What are you talking about?
Do not say things that will make me so sad, Mother. The unsettling word thrust itself mercilessly into the depths of Natsuhi's heart and started churning it about. In her entire life, Natsuhi had never been told something so unsettling. In her bewilderment, Natsuhi felt that her heart beat so loudly that it felt like it would explode.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you're playing, but I'm hanging up.
I came back for revenge. Revenge for your crime of 19 years ago. Natsuhi's mind went blank. And from beyond that wind howling outside the window, she most certainly heard the roar of the sea from that day. So, you actually do remember, do you not?
I don't know what you're talking about. Never call her again.
I have not forgotten how you treated me 19 years ago. To curse you, I still call you Mother despite that. No, because of that. The family conference will be here very soon, right? I am your son, Mother. I will come on the day of the conference, after 19 years, so that I can have my revenge on you. Breathing so hard her shoulders heaved, Natsui slammed the receiver down and hung up. Then she hit the phone violently, knocking the receiver off, so that no more calls would come through.
I can hear the roar of the sea. That voice I hear from beyond the howling wind is instantly... Even if I cover my ears, the headache won't.
Completely pale, Natsui kept shivering as though cold.
Lambda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm anywhere you want me to be, Vern.
Then crawl into the cupboard under the kitchen floor. Or in a jar of rice bran paste if you like.
Oh, you're gonna dip me in bean paste and bite into me? But then I'd rather you dip me in honey. In return, I'll cook you in sugar water.
At least make it sweet soy sauce with sweet sake.
So, what's up? You gonna make me repeat something?
That's right. Is Natsuhi's phone conversation here real?
Lanilda grinned unpleasantly as though sizing Burncastle up. Probably trying to tease Burn for making that demand.
You refuse to repeat it?
Well now. Should I refuse, or should I respond? As the game master, that's up for me to decide, and I get to make that decision anytime I want.
Unless I state it in blue, you aren't obligated to respond.
That's it. For now, you're stuck wondering about Natsui's secret of 19 years ago, okay? Make sure you're sitting on the edge of your seat.
Of course, this fishy telephone call happened before October 4th, 1986. It's still before the start of the game, so there's basically no need to question whether it's true or false.
Since you, the Game Master, went out of your way to show me this, I'll take it as a preparatory move for something else. It might be a trick, but I'll at least keep this move of yours in my memory.
So you'll leave without turning the card over. Ouch! What?
Direct attack.
After suddenly being conked on the head, Landelta was bewildered. Perhaps this incomprehensible exchange was funny to her, because she quickly went back into giggling.
Are you done preparing the game board now?
Yeah, that's right. Now I'll finally move on to the game. On to October 4th, 1986.
I wonder what number October 4th, 1986 this is. The Endless Witch, huh? Beatrice. She truly is a frightening child.
Any moves from your side yet, Baron?
No. If you've refused to repeat what I asked, then I'm done.
Then end, right? Untap, unkeep, draw. Come. October 4th, 1986.
Deep Blue G. Fucking love that song so much.
God, it's so good.
I'll tell you what
So, if you guys wouldn't mind, this next chapter is like astoundingly short for Umineko. Like it's like, as described to me, it is like 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Alright, let's do this shit then.
Whatever you want. I'm good with it.
For no reason in particular.
No reason whatsoever, but it's a very good one.
Oh, I guess there's a reason then.
Mm-hmm. This rose garden really is a masterpiece. It's gonna be more awesome than it was 6 years ago. You're so lucky to have this as your yard.
Are you kidding? For me, it just makes it a lot longer to walk to the harbor, and that's a real pain.
Oh, fuck. That's a pretty luxurious worry.
Getting to say hi to the roses every morning must be awesome! You must get later for saying hi to so many roses!
Shame about Angie, though. I hear her stomach gets upset easily, right?
Yeah, she's not a fan of hamburger meat for some reason. Apparently. It's probably her intestines are that. Probably her intestines that are weak. She's almost always got the runs.
You shouldn't say something like that about a lady.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot. Nothing comes out of a girl's butt but marshmallows, right? So Angie got sick, and the marshmallows turned into syrup.
Okay, that's really...
Way over the line.
George and Jessica slammed a knee and fist into either side of Battler's gut. Whack, smack, thud. Probably the sound made with his knees when his knees hit the ground as he fell over. Normally, Battler possessed the good senses you'd expect of an 18-year-old man. However, it seemed that this reunion had brought him back to the mental age he'd been 6 years ago. And bit by bit, Jessica and George realized they were also returning to that way they'd been back then. Natsuki gazed at this. Charming? Chat through the open window in the hall.
Joshi.
Madam. Kraus-sama is searching for you.
I'll go in just a bit. It isn't even lunchtime yet and I'm already tired.
Just a few moments ago, the sparks already started flying between them and Ava's group. As it pounded on Kraus and Natsuhi over and over to get Kinzo out of his study. Apparently they hadn't been fully tricked at last year's family conference after all.
There are no problems with father, right?
Correct. Leave it to me. Shaden and Cannon are fully prepared to handle today's arrangements.
Sawa is a good liar, so I'm not worried about her. But I am a little concerned about Dr. Nanjo. I get the feeling he's bad at hiding things.
Leave that to me. I intend to support Dr. Nanjo from nearby as much as possible.
So reassuring to have you there. It truly does help a lot. Without your strength, we wouldn't be able to succeed.
I am honored by your words.
Don't worry. The closed room barrier on the study is perfect. As long as the barrier remains unbroken, no one will be able to expose Kinzo's secret.
Yes, I understand. Still, you heard that conversation in the parlor just now, didn't you?
Indeed. It seems that someone has some considerable suspicions were aroused last year. The terrible toxin is accumulated and is being spread all around.
It seems this year's conference really will be crucial.
We might be able to overcome this year somehow, but there is such a thing as pushing our luck. It's probably best to assume that next year won't be manageable.
With this much of the magic-resistant toxin filling up the place, it would probably be difficult to preserve Lord Goldsmith's magic for yet another family conference.
Who are you?
Oh! No need to be surprised. This man serves as my head of furniture.
Greetings, Madame Natri. My name is Runaway. It is a pleasure to meet you.
This man is reliable. He's also helping to protect the closed room barrier.
Is that so? I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I thank you for your cooperation.
Of course, madam. I will be aiding you from the magical world. Please rely on me.
In that case, I guess I'll introduce myself next. Hi, Reesh. Long time no see.
Ah, Gop! I'm glad to see you're here as well.
Well, I only came to have fun. The extra hand let me know. Nice to meet you, madame. It was the first time I said hello, but I'm always right by anyone's side.
Gap here is quite the prankster. Remember that headache medicine you dropped on the floor of your room and lost as you were getting dressed? Gap was the one behind that.
Whenever you set something small down somewhere but can't find it later, it's always a good idea to suspect that it's one of her pranks. Long ago, she used to tease me all the time.
Is that so? In any event, this is your Shiramiya mansion. As long as you're here, you will obey us. You understand, correct?
Of course. We understand. Think of me as Genji of the magical world, and give me orders whenever you wish.
And even I know how a guest is supposed to act. I won't let the landlord lose face.
You can count on Runaway and Gap. However, the magic world and the human world are two different sides of the same coin.
I understand. Of course, I will do all I can in the human world. Let's work together and protect Father's secret.
Indeed.
This happens every time. We won't get anywhere until the next day.
Well, sure. October 4th is like a prep turn for me. If you don't feel like doing anything, why don't you just sit around until October 5th? I'll call you after the first 6 die.
Of course, this is an incredibly irritating way to put it. But when starting until the crime occurs. If we're waiting for the crime to start would mean turning a blind eye towards the murders of the first Twilight. In other words, it would be the same as being content with the fact that 6 people would die.
Did you know? They say that in chess, the player who moves first is twice as likely to win.
Although that can change as the tactics of the match progresses. Don't they say the second player has a much better chance at a draw?
You don't know the phrase, the first to strike wins. So what are you trying to say?
This is why you're so incompetent.
Seriously. Are you listening, Battler? There do exist puzzles that can be solved even on October 4th. Know which one I mean?
You don't mean... No, but...
Well, watch and see, Battler the Incompetent.
I had a general idea of what these witches were talking about. Tried solving it several times myself in the past, but I still haven't found anything resembling an answer. On the contrary, I still can't even understand why that puzzle exists. That's right. The reason it exists. Why did Beato prepare a puzzle like this in the first place? They'll discuss it together from time to time in past games. I've decided to avoid thinking about it under the assumption that there's no point in trying to solve a riddle that can't be solved. This time, I should change my viewpoint. I should just focus on the surface level stuff. The truth of the riddle and how to solve it. What's more important is why that riddle was set up in the first place and displayed for us to see. That's what I should be thinking about. And the ones proposing that riddle is Beatrice. Even if I can't solve it, I should be able to try and figure out what Beato was thinking when she showed it to us. Okay, this time I'm spinning the chessboard around. The witches keep calling me incompetent. Let them laugh. They are my enemies. I'm continuing our match, Beato.
Hideyoshi. Oh, sorry, I was looking away. Ow! Looks like it finally started raining.
Noir.
Noir on stage.
Good on you.
Dang.
Good on you.
Wish the only downpour was the one inside my heart.
Boo! People in the parlor noticed the raindrops that were starting to drip down the window.
Now we have nowhere to run until the family conference ends.
The same thing goes for Nissan. I won't let them escape. You can be sure of that. The cards we're holding aren't bad. Nissan's just bluffing. I'll make certain he surrenders.
Well, there's more to a deal than making your opponent lose. You gotta get a pitfall ready. Praise them a bit, and convince them to stand on it of their own accord.
Hideyoshi sounds right. We pressed them a bit too hard last time, Evanescon.
That was perfectly reasonable, considering it's Nissan we're dealing with.
Heh, looks like Rosa's fallen asleep.
She was complaining about how early she woke up in the morning. Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with taking a nap.
There's a chance we might be forced to spend all night on this. Getting a nap in now is probably a smart idea.
Out of consideration for Rosa, who had fallen asleep on a sofa, the others quietly left the parlor. Got that? Checking something? Okay. Unaware of this, Rosa slept, telling Maria to just stay where she was after the tantrum over not being able to find her rose. Rosa slept, unaware that the rain had started to fall. The rain poured down as though it had been saving up for this moment. Of course, Maria noticed that the rain had started falling and was soaking her to the bone. However, that just made her even more stubborn. Able to find that poorly, slightly unhealthy rose that she herself had marked, she just couldn't stand having that search be interrupted by something like rain. So the more the rain fell on Maria, the more stubborn she grew. As she wandered through the rose beds, and as she did, from behind Maria's back came a patter, the sound of approaching footsteps. The footsteps landed in a puddle, making a small splashing sound, and Maria finally heard. However, even the slight distraction of that sound irritated her, and Maria ignored it. Hello. Maria turned around, bewildered. After all, that voice was one she didn't recognize at all. On the sealed-off Rokenjima, the voice belonged to a person she knew.
Kraus-sama, madam. I was looking for you. Something important has come up.
Kraus and Natsu had been privately discussing what should be done next in a deserted corridor on the 3rd floor. Genji had searched everywhere for them.
What is it? It must be something more urgent than a few sheets getting soaked in the rain.
What is it? Has some sort of blunder been made?
A short while ago, someone arrived at the mansion, claiming to have drifted here after an accident at sea.
Kraus and Natsu couldn't help but go wide-eyed and stare at each other. That was the first time they'd ever heard of someone coming to this island uninvited.
Someone drifted here? Is that true? Poor thing. Treat this person politely, like a guest. What are they doing now?
Dr. Nanjo is performing an examination. He hasn't finished yet, but from what I could tell by looking, the drifter seemed tired but uninjured.
Thank goodness. Natsu and I are having an important conversation right now. When it's over, we'll go to check on this person. Please tell this drifter that we want them to feel at home.
Certainly.
When Genji bowed deeply and started to leave, Natsuki called him to a stop. Genji stopped walking, and Natsuhi jogged up to him.
Genji, is this drifter a man?
No. She is a young woman, with the same age as Milady.
A woman? I see. Very well, back to your work.
The parlor of the mansion was bustling. Adults gathered, worrying about the health of this sudden guest.
Well, if she was able to walk all the way to the Rose Garden by herself, her life probably isn't in danger.
Always helps to be prepared. Probably all thanks to the life jacket. Without that, she might have drowned.
What kind of girl was she? Older or younger than George or Jessica?
She was younger than Jessica. She wore a life jacket and swimsuit. It looked like she was all tired out.
If she washed up somewhere near the harbor, that must have been a rare bit of luck amid disaster. It would have been terrible if she'd landed on the opposite side of the island.
No, you have to feel sorry for her. With this weather, the boats won't be coming. I imagine she'll also be stuck on this island all day tomorrow.
At that moment, the door clunked open and everyone looked in that direction.
Would anyone like some tea?
It was Goda in canon, with the latter pushing a serving cart laden with a tea set. Goda understood well that doing a little extra at times like this would earn him points. The relatives, hungry for information, crowded around Goda. He ordered Canon to serve the tea in, it became the sole object of the relatives' attention.
Goda-san, how's that kid doing? Does it look like she's okay?
Well, I don't know about that. But there's no need to worry. Dr. Nanji was giving his full attention to taking care of her, and Kumasawa and Shannon are with him. Please have no fears. When I relax with some black tea for now. Come, Canon-san! Quickly, serve it.
I fucking hate you.
Canning of his tea was just Goda's way of earning points, so he lined the cups up with a slightly sullen air.
I'll help too.
It's okay. You can just wait there, Maria-sama.
I want to serve tea too.
Didn't you talk with Dr. Nanjo? Did he say anything?
Yes. Remember a short while ago he said that there wasn't any serious external wounds. Before I could tell at a glance.
Just as Goda had successfully captured the gazes of all present and was about to start talking knowledgeably on the subject, Nanjo returned. Of course, Nanjo instantly became the center of attention. Kennen turned his back on Goda, who seemed downhearted.
Dr. Nanjo! How is her condition? Does it look like she'll be okay?
Not to worry, everyone. She is fine. She has no injuries at all.
Ah, man. Hideyoshi's making this harder.
She seems to be quite worn out, but there shouldn't be anything to worry about tonight, as long as she doesn't develop a fever.
That's good to hear.
Did I say the full thing? Okay, you got it. Nice.
I said...
Oopsies.
We're lucky enough to have a doctor, but this is no hospital.
Everyone was relieved to hear that the girl was in good health. When Nanjo gave them more detailed results of the examination, including by saying that she was young and should therefore be fine, everyone who would no longer fall under this description nodded in assent.
Boats really are scary. Well. Battler was right.
Maria-chan, let's not tell Battler about this.
No promises.
Oh, Madam Crow-sama!
Goda, who had lost his nerve, was handing out cups, called in an excessively loud voice. Apparently, that was his desperate. Apparently, he was that desperate to get everyone's attention.
And how is the guest?
Yes, sir. Her condition is not serious.
Not that.
Was that real?
Yeah, that was my dad.
I can't believe Dr. Nanjo is Orange's dad.
They didn't know what the hell it was.
I can't believe Nanjo is Orange's dad.
Just hear Nanjo in the distance.
I just hear wah wah wah. Oh, wait, what the fuck?
I really hope that picked up on the Twitch. Oh my god.
Dr. Nanjo.
Yeah, I was wondering, why is Dr. Nanjo in the background?
Yeah, that was like
why is me voice testing Dr. Nanjo in the background? Like, those are the sounds I make whenever I try to prepare to speak as Nanjo.
Are you
Very good.
Retroactive dad?
Like, whenever, like, what you're not hearing, every time I'm trying to prepare for Nanjo, is me going... because it's hard to get Nanjo the first time.
Alright.
Okay.
I see. That's great.
That was
amazing. Where is she now?
I believe that Kumasawa-san and Shannon-san were guiding her to the bath. They said they would get her clothes afterwards.
In that case, they'll probably arrive here sooner. Everyone, this may be the day of the family conference, but we have a guest brought here by an unfortunate accident. She wasn't invited, but I want you all to welcome her.
Who could disagree with that? I'm all for it.
Same here. Didn't Mom always tell us to be nice to girls?
Maybe, but you didn't need to make that your life's motto.
Damn.
It's probably best if we call George and the rest over here too. Let's all greet her together. But wouldn't that just make her more uncomfortable?
Maybe instead of made a phone call to the guest house. At the moment, they heard the sound of a knock, followed by Genji's voice.
It is Genji. The guest has arrived.
At those words, everyone fell silent, and the people who had been sitting stood up straight. Genji came in first, opening the door slowly, then moved off to the side, bowing deeply and urging the guest forwards. The guest had Shannon and Kumasawa following by her side. Even after seeing the large number of relatives waiting for her in the parlor, she didn't seem overawed in the slightest. Just the single point showed that this girl possessed a dignity appropriate for a guest invited in by the Ashuramiya family.
Furudo-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is the representative of the Ashuramiya family head, Ashuramiya Kraus.
Welcome to Rokenjima. Though you arrived due to an accident, you are a guest of the family. We welcome you. Please, make yourself at home and relax however you please.
Thank you very much. Allow me to introduce myself. I am called Frudo Erica. My deepest apologies for disturbing you members of the Ashurmia family like this. I'm truly grateful for the warm welcome I've received despite my status as an uninvited guest. This was greeted by an impressed sigh arising equally from all corners of the room. The clothes she had been lent were probably Jessica's formal wear from long ago, but the composure of her introduction didn't shame those clothes in the slightest. The girl's name was Furudo Erica. She looked slightly younger than Battler and Jessica, but her composure and mannerisms were beyond what anyone would have expected from a high schooler, almost as though she was a well-to-do family's daughter. Wait a sec. Who the heck is this?
With an incompetent piece like you as the main character piece, the game wouldn't go anywhere. That's why I've placed myself there as a piece.
Well, that's just a bit of a bonus. Even in a closed circle, it'd get boring to see the same crew every single time, right?
Quit messing around! This piece doesn't exist on Beato's game board. Beato and I won't acknowledge it.
This is Beato's game board, right? If Beato refuses, then I'll consider it. What do you say, Beato?
Beato was unable to answer, and the Delta grinned triumphantly.
Wanna try complaining about the rules and stepping down from the game? Isn't that a favorite move of you mystery people? If there's even a tiny element that goes against your expectations, you throw a tantrum and totally stop thinking.
Don't worry. I'll make a detective proclamation regarding this piece.
Detective proclamation?
I proclaim that Furudo Erika is the detective. The detective is not the culprit. No proof is needed to show this. In short, there is absolutely no need to suspect this girl. Even if she appears as a human piece from now on, you can build theories the same as you always did. Get it? Hey, quit.
That's Max the 7th, right? It's forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. There was an exception clause in the original, but for this game, the detective isn't the culprit has been proclaimed in red, so you don't need to consider the exception. I hate word games, so I'll say this in red too. Rudo Erica is not the culprit.
Hey,
repeat it. What? What's up?
Sorry.
Hmm?
If she's the same as Berncastel but only different, does that mean I should be voicing her instead?
No.
We don't even know if she is the same.
No.
What do you think that she has anything to do with Berncastel?
Like, it could just be an artificially created human.
That's fair.
They don't even have the same VA, so don't worry about it.
Oh, not even in the VAN?
Nope.
No.
Wow. Alright then. My bad. Sorry.
Repeat it.
Yeah,
That's
the
fine.
anime
Don't
didn't
worry.
even go. Oh, sorry.
Repeat it. Frodo Erica has no influence on any of Beato's games before now.
Sure, no prob. Rudo Erica had no influence on any of Beato's games before now. She's nothing more than an extra character who appears for the first time this round. She does not exist in the worlds before this one, nor does she influence them.
So, what does that do to the number of people on this island right now?
Of course, it's +1 from the previous number. But don't worry. It is only increased by 1 person, Furudo Erica. Besides her, the number of people on this island is exactly the same as it was in the previous games.
At that time, the sound of people dashing down a corridor could be heard. It was Badler, George, and Jessica who had come in from the guest house after being called here by Ava. They immediately spotted a guest they didn't recognize, and their eyes went wide. Whoa! Who are you?
A guest. She came by falling.
Huh? Fall.
Genji-san. Who is this person?
This is a guest, Furudo Erika-sama. Furudo-sama. This is the daughter of the family, Jessica-sama, along with her cousins George-sama and Batla-sama.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ushiromiya Jessica.
Hello. My name is Furudo Erika. I am very pleased to meet you. Though Balor, George, and Jessica didn't have a clue what was going on and were utterly bewildered, they even introduced themselves.
Isn't that convenient? This way, the number of people is clear. The people in the guest house have joined up with the rest, and now all of the pieces except for Kinzo, all of the humans, have gathered in the parlor.
Looks like it. In other words, the number of people in this parlor now is equal to the total number of people on this island.
There were supposedly 18 people on the island, but since Grandfather's actually dead, that became 17. Now one piece of burn castles have been added. The number of humans on this island has returned to 18. I glanced around at the humans of the parlor. The guest, Furudo Erika. And behind her, Kumasawa-san and Shannon-chan. Off to the side was Genji-san. Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi were welcoming the guests. Goda-san immediately started showing off, and Kanon-kun was being unsociable, wearing his usual blank expression. There was Dad and Kyrie-san. Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi. Aunt Rosa and Maria. And Dr. Nanjo. Then on either side of me were George Aniki and Jessica. This is everyone, the true number of people on the island at the moment.
Well, all of us are Shiromiyas. Please don't feel obligated to call us by your family name. I'm George.
And I'm Badler. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much, George-san, Badler-san. How you please if you would call me Erika.
Nice to meet you, Erika-san.
So that Erika would be welcomed like a guest, and allowed to borrow the bedroom right next to the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. In front of all the relatives, she had seemed dignified and a bit stiff. However, she talked with George and Jessica, her expression began to soften gradually. And so, the detective, Furudo Erika, was placed on the game board.
I'm surprised Jessica's old clothes fit her so well.
Kumasawa made the decision on her own to use Milady's old clothes. Please forgive her.
The clothes Erika wore were Jessica's old formal attire. If a guest possessed a dignity that would put most else to shame, her body was still physically similar to a middle schooler's. Jessica's old clothes fit her perfectly.
Not to worry. They match this guest perfectly. If she likes them, we might even let her keep them as a sign of friendship.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Have you contacted the police and her family?
Yes. They seem to have been quite distressed.
By the way, Our guest really was involved in an accident, right?
She herself said she fell from a boat as it was returning to port.
Is there anything to back up that claim?
I checked with the Coast Guard. It seems she fell from the rear of a pleasure boat, unnoticed by the others on board. We don't know the exact location she fell from, but it was probably somewhere near this island.
It was foolish to play on a boat with such bad weather forecast. However, is it really conceivable she nearly drowned in nearby waters and drifted to this island?
It is not impossible. Tales of drifters washing ashore exist in several of the islands around this area. I believe it is likely that an accident occurred. We're in the middle of a typhoon. It would not be possible to land on a boat anywhere on this island.
Genji already considered what she now suspected. Natsu probably suspected that this mysterious guest who had arrived during this already high-stress family conference might be the agent of some conspiracy. But Genji had already checked to make sure that the accident was real and that Furudo Erika was her real name. There was nothing suspicious going on.
Stand. My husband has ordered that you be politely entertained. Make sure that there are no blunders. However, you do understand, don't you?
Yes. I won't let her anywhere near the family conference. After dinner, I will see that she retires to the guest house.
Make sure they don't start trying to force us to let her meet father or anything like that.
Of course. I will keep that in mind.
Oh. Furudo Erika, was it? It's rare for guests to come here to Rokkenjima. Doesn't this look like it'll be interesting?
She's probably Lady Burncastle's Peasel.
Peasel.
Though she will follow the rules of humans, the player is a witch. We mustn't underestimate her.
There is no problem. Even if she were Lady Burncastle herself, since she's a human, she's no match for us. After all, we have Gap with us. Humans certainly cannot win against Gap.
Thanks. It's not a good idea to overestimate yourself. The definition of a witch doesn't only imply the ability to use magic.
True. A joker and the eye of a typhoon. That is what a witch is.
I'm the only one who gets to call herself a witch on this Rokkenjima. Only I, the Golden Witch, and the Endless Witch, Beatrice. Let's see how good Lady Burncastle's next piece after Angie is. I intend to watch very closely.
And that'll do it.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
So, that was Erika Furudo. What does everyone think?
I think she Toho girl. You know, then again, I guess there's dress isn't that Toho.
Here, hold on.
That was my first reaction, though.
Well, before everybody gets to thinking, we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, we have decided to give everyone a break because, like, it's a little bit hard to have everyone kind of just quick shot their theories right away. So we want to give you time to do that, and we will be a little bit more anal about who speaks, because we don't want any more people jumping in while someone's giving their theories, because it becomes really hard to follow people's theories at that point.
Yeah.
I would really like to suggest we look into that priority speaker thing.
It's not even that. It's that people need to not speak when someone is giving their theory and not interrupt.
It's so much.
It's just, and also like you can't. We don't want you to trail off into an additional theory. Is also the thing that needs.
So,
to be done.
while you guys are composing yourselves and going over your theories, I will read through the character card for Erika. Fell from the pleasure boat Eternal Maid 2, mid-cruise in the waters near Rokenjima. She washed up on Rokenjima on October 4th, 1986. The Ishimaya family welcomed her as a guest. She managed to drift to the island unharmed thanks to several miracles, including the life jacket she was wearing. And then for the witch side version of her card, Berncastle's double and servant, also a piece who has manifested in the human world. Because she is human, she cannot use magic and the like. However, because she is in contact with Berncastle in a higher world and can appeal to her to use higher world miracles and authority on her behalf. It would probably be no exaggeration to call Ferudo Erika a human capable of wielding the power of a witch. Through Berncastle, she has been given the detective's authority while on the game board. Therefore, even if she is an outsider to the Ashurmia family, she possesses the right to demand full attention from everyone when speaking. The right to advance proceedings, the right to investigate the crime scene before the police arrive, as many other special abilities. She gets pleasure from the process of solving riddles, but her greatest joy comes from using that victory to sneer at others. Alright. So yeah, let me just fucking save and go to the fucking transition screen. Yotto. Oop. Let's go ahead and turn on some good old background. Yibba-da-da.
I am ready when others are, but others might not be ready.
I'm still forming my thoughts here.
Well, before we do that, I do want to say something. So like I've said before, in the middle of January, I'm going to be starting a new job. And I really need to do well with this job because it basically is going to be very important to my future prospects. So as much as I love doing this, I would very much appreciate it if there's any chance that, at least on Sundays, if we could do a hard cap 2V visual novel by 12 a.m. I don't mean like theories. I don't mind missing that, but I really don't want to just miss out on some of it because I absolutely can't get less than 7 hours sleep for this job.
Okay.
Week.
And is that EST?
That's EST.
All right.
So
Well, I
it's,
mean,
12:37 right now, and obviously I'm fine until then. But at that point, I would really appreciate that.
I'm personally fine.
You know what I mean? Like, we'll do it to the best of our abilities. Just know that like there's gonna be times we might end up pouring over a little bit, and just, just bad timing on
of
stuff.
Course,
but like,
if it's at all possible, I wouldn't say if anyone isn't okay with it. Like, I wonder if it would be possible if we could do it on Fridays and Saturdays instead of Sundays. But I think Orange said that basically wasn't possible.
For me personally, that like screws up my fucking that basically just annihilates my weekend. Like I can only you gotta understand I have like people who I hang out with in real life, so like not being able to hang out like Friday already kind of fucks things up, but Saturday is a bit more open. So I need like time for that.
Next week I'm working on Friday, so if it comes into it and there's no place to put it, just go do without me.
Wait, like next week is in like
this week. This next
week?
Friday.
This Friday.
That's not a problem. That's Christmas Eve. We're not doing it 3 months.
Yeah, we're not doing it then. We're doing it on Tuesday, right?
We're doing it on Tuesday.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I'm personally fine with us taking however long we need to finish this. Like, I'm in no rush to finish Umineko.
What was it? I do know on Friday. I want to put this out here. If it is only Zaz or just one other person, I'll probably do Ultra Despair Girls that day.
All right, might pop in too.
It's honestly kind of amazing that we can keep a schedule with like 13 people at all.
And I might pop in and just will have a hard time voicing. So
I mean,
go
people
ahead.
used to do that in D&D all the time, but I guess times are changing.
I just sacrifice sleep. It's fine.
By the way, D&D tomorrow? Or
Yes,
anything else?
D&D will definitely be tomorrow.
D&D is not recorded.
No, regrettably. But hey, if you're in the Discord server, you can peep in but not say anything. Otherwise, I will shank you. Metaphorically.
Orange, what's the best way that you can join the
Now,
the
the
Discord
best way you
server
can
from
join our-
Twitch.tv?
Now, the best way you can join our Discord is by going down to the funny little link at the bottom of the thing that says I think it says like what is it, like the fucking Discord? funny
Enter
zone or
the
something?
Discord cube.
There is a enter the Discord cube, and there's also one on the description that just kind of like has a link to our Discord on it that you can go to. And then, of course, there's my funny little there's my funny little Twitch. There's my little funny little Twitter you can go to. Joshy has his own streaming thing you can go to, which is at Digital Joshua on Twitch and Twitter and all that fun stuff.
Josh, you
Digital Joshy, yeah.
I would like to say that we are currently doing the Danganronpa series.
I'm
Check
more
that
of a
out.
YouTuber man who posts like edited videos. I upload them whenever the fuck, but I record them in the Discord around like Tuesdays.
Can we make a channel? Sorry, go ahead.
And I just started streaming myself.
Should we put
Yeah, Bone?
Should we make a channel that's just the links to all our stuff? Do you think we should do that? I'm not sure.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Other than that, what else?
You have 20 seconds.
Read Beaglesaurus.
Yeah, that too. Read Noir's funny book.
So should we do? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have a feeling that Rindy was gonna say watch Symphogear.
You can't prove that. Say it in
Watch Baki.
And
Kaiji as well.
Morgana, it has been 5 minutes.
Watch
Okay,
people
your
here.
theory time, your theory thinking time is over.
Time begins now.
I will call starting theories. I think that Natsui's recreation of Kinzo is oddly supportive of her. Could this recreation be an imperfect copy of the original? One made up of her bias.
You know what I think, Bone?
What?
I think this Natsuhi's version of Kinzo is just her trying to cope with her mistakes.
That seems to be what Burncastle is trying to get Battler to think.
I think that Kinzo is made of copium.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't run it by it.
I know this type of psychological condition because I've seen one person doing that before, and yeah, it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a condition for this?
Probably.
It's called hallucinating, right? What do you
Some
mean?
form of that.
Alright. I have another theory, but just to make sure, are your thoughts out on this idea? Alright, I'm going to take the silence as a yes. I'm wondering if the words illusion of the witch, which was said, I believe, by Burncastle, if the word illusion has deeper meaning. Because illusion is not magic. I mean, I guess you could say illusion magic, but, whatever.
You're having a delusion by having the illusion.
That's astounding.
I don't know.
That seems like an astounding conclusion.
Anyway, I'm just wondering if that word illusion has deeper meaning, or if it was just a fancy set of words that Ryukishi made up. I also have the thought of, I wonder if at some point Nox's commandments will be broken. I have heard the phrase that, when in writing, that you can't break the rules until you know them, but whenever you know the rules, you can break the rules to writing all you want. Like, this was during a brief period of time where I was considering getting into literature.
Well, yeah.
You know they already broken that rule multiple times already in the series.
How so?
If I remember right, anything involving around magic.
What?
What?
Wait, Crimson, restate what you just said?
Grim?
Let me just think on it.
Should I go to the next thing, or would you like time to think?
No, you can go on.
Alright. I find it interesting that Kenzo seems to really be into Western countries, and while Kraus seems to have a fondness within the Asian regions. And yes, I am wondering if this is an act of rebellion, such as suggested by Beato, or if it could be something else. If there is deeper history behind that.
It could just be him personally.
It could. I also still don't believe have we gotten a reason yet for why Kinzo seems to have a fondness for Western countries?
No.
Not really.
I'm going to continue to read. Oh yes, so it has been stated that you will not see that love apparently has something to do towards seeing these magical events, and I have to wonder if at some point, like, the series will end with Battler just no longer having love towards his family, and that will allow him to see things with no magic. Does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that made sense?
So, okay, let me ask. So you think that this story will end with Battler not loving his family anymore, or at least
that is a possibility, or that somehow Battler will become a less sympathetic person, because, like it was saying, like Burncastle has no love for Natsui, and that allows her to see Natsui as not talking with anyone.
So, okay. To make sure I got it, because I'm not 100% sure yet. You believe that towards the end, Burncastle right now is setting an example for Battler to follow, so that way he can become less sympathetic and eventually be able to I guess kind of hate his family, or at least like
that is a possibility.
All right, just that.
Then he might become more jaded, and that will help him win.
All right.
I also find it interesting that Burn all of a sudden is able to say something such as Natsui is drinking tea all by herself in red. I am curious why such statements have not been made in the past, where it seems like that is just an absolute denial of the magic going on.
Her role in the past has actually just been that of a spectator. Plus, at some point, I just sort of assumed, well, actually, now that I think about it, assuming exists of a soul. Sorry, I need to get water. I need to get some water really quickly. 1 second. Continue.
I find it odd, Battler's, like, continuing sympathy towards Beato, despite the cruelties that she has enacted, and in fact has made use of his sympathy in the past. Even though he is, like, saying, oh, are you trying to trick me again? Are you trying to trick me again? I just find it odd that he's still continuing to feel sympathy towards her.
Interesting.
I also find it odd how Natsui seems to be working with her idea of Beato, complying with her, working with her, and then at the end of episode 1, she is clearly pissed off, so I am curious where the plan starts to unravel. That is why I assumed that she is pissed off, at least, that things did not go according to plan. She probably did not expect her family to die. And so I feel like that will probably tie into this Erica lady stating that Natsui is the culprit. But if the series ends with her being pissed off that her family is dead, I feel like she wouldn't be the culprit. Did that make sense?
Sorry, you go first, Crimson.
No, you can go next. I was trying to say something else.
Okay. On the part where you said about it weird that Beatrice already feels this much sympathy for Beato, especially after everything?
Battler feels sympathy. You said Beatrice feels sympathy for Beato.
Sorry about that. Mostly for Battler feeling some sympathy for Beato because of this, she is in pain, and she doesn't want to truly be in the game anymore. Even the brightest of sinners always have to feel some sympathy for the devil.
Nah, I don't know.
I just want to talk about the whole fact that she had a secret son that I kind of knew from the whole pregnancy thing that she had earlier.
Wait, what pregnancy thing?
What are you talking about?
Natsui had a child. Don't you remember?
No.
Are you talking about the phone call that was made earlier?
Yes.
I mean, what's this about the pregnancy? Like, when was that mentioned?
Yes, it was mentioned before because she supposedly had a miscarriage at a certain point before Jessica. Don't you remember that?
Oh, I forgot. I have no memory of that.
Sometimes some people lie about having miscarriages if something else happened during that time frame, like, oh, I don't know, probably not having the child because of certain other reasons.
An illegitimate pregnancy?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I actually do have to step in with the correction.
Crimson, you're talking about
Um,
Kyrie.
No, I'm not talking about Kyrie.
Then why does it say in the notes that? Why I looked up miscarriage on the Discord and it's only you talking about Kyrie in the notes.
I think you may be confusing it with Kyrie.
Yeah, I just looked that up.
However, well, I think what you're referring to is Natsui had trouble giving birth. It took them a while to have Jessica, that was stated.
Yes.
Okay, but that could also mean something similar to that.
Hey, quick question. I forget. Does this Erica lady, does she count as one of the 18 people, or does she count as an extra?
Technically, it was 17, but it became 18.
Could you say currently there are 18 people on the island, or there's 17 plus Erica?
What is 17 plus
True
1?
to Erica only increases it by one person. Besides her,
Okay,
the number of people on this island is exactly the same as it was in the previous games.
Alright, then I misread or misunderstood them. I thought they were saying that it was 17 people, and then Erica is kind of a extra that doesn't count towards the total. I guess I misunderstood that then.
It just means that there's 18 people now on the island.
Alright, I thought it was saying that there was 17 and then Erica. That she didn't count because she was like a wild card. Alright, then I misunderstood. Just looking through to see if they have anything else. Okay. Yeah, I wrote my last note is that at the beginning of the story, which Con, you weren't there for that.
Yeah.
It started with her, Erica, pointing towards Natsui and saying that she was the culprit. So I'm curious if that is actually true. I kind of mentioned this before, but or if that is just a theory that she crafted as she is in the detective role.
As of right now, it's all speculation.
I do not believe Natsui is the killer. That is all.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay, I've got my theories in order. Or at least
Alright,
my
go
thoughts
ahead.
in order.
Shoot.
Say what?
Shoot, go
Oh,
ahead.
wait, actually, can I say one more thing? It's going to be a short thing.
Sure.
I also noticed Erica also has a Western first name and Japanese last name, so I find that interesting. Alright, that's my thought.
Okay. Sorry, my mind just kind of went blank for a second.
No
I have
problem.
my paper right in front of me, and my mind just went blank.
No
I
problem.
think it's
Take your
just the
time.
sinuses messing with my head.
Yeah.
So, anyone else here actually familiar with Nox's commandments?
Yes.
I've heard them before, I forget the specifics.
They're considered a decalogue for classic detective stories.
The original idea of that was because the guy who wrote it was also a writer, but he was getting tired of a bunch of other detective stories basically breaking what his mind is, a certain rule idea for the detective stories, by basically making up weird plot holes and twists that basically destroy the narrative of the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's keep going.
Essentially like a guide for how to write a perfect mystery.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have these written down. I'm an Agatha Christie fan. I
Okay.
kind of follow these.
Sorry to interrupt, but I will say, Nox's dialogue has been mentioned in Umi, so like, hey, there's a good chance there might be spoilers if you look that up, so be careful.
No, there absolutely will be if that's like the very first thing that comes up. Don't look it up.
Yeah, I looked up Nox's Decalogue. The 7th expansion wiki was the first thing that popped up.
Of course it is. Also,
Yep.
it also is in another game too.
It's called a Decalogue because there's
I know.
10.
They use it pretty interchangeably.
07 is Ryukishi, the guy who made all of this.
Yeah. But they are fully right on the 3rd and the 4th commandments they have.
Well, like I said before, the 3rd is slightly different in reality.
Yeah.
We all know about that one.
No hidden
But
passages.
this is different.
No hidden passages. No random drugs. No random weapon X's. So anything involving those theories that we've crafted in the past are officially out. So it can't be massive drug X is making them all act out Y.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there can't be like 15 bajillion hidden tunnels everywhere.
Keep going.
Exactly. That also means there can't be any hidden passages inside of the mansion. Which does throw a wrench in a few other theories I had. There's also something really... I don't know. This is just a personal thing. Whenever they were talking about Angie not being able to make it to the conference, Battler mentioned stomach problems for a 6-year-old?
Yeah, that tends to happen to some children. They have like dietary problems.
Did anyone else's red flag sensor kind of go up?
No, she just got diarrhea. She didn't show up.
She probably got a stomach bug from somewhere.
Man, when I was 6, oh boy.
Wait, who was shooting marshmallows? I forget.
The
Angie.
whole joke was that Angie has diarrhea.
No, I just wondered who it was, but yeah, then I remembered it was Angie.
I don't know. Just the connotation behind that's made me think that Battler said that she has this happen often.
She was kind of sickly at a certain point.
Apparently. Yeah.
I think that may just be my maternal instinct and my older sister instinct kicking in.
Really?
What?
Wait, Kaneko, what does this have to do with the mystery?
No, I just felt a weird red flag note from that.
Please move on.
Okay.
Word of God says don't think about it.
I would describe that as a non-point.
Yeah.
So it's moot then.
Yes.
Alright. One thing that isn't moot though, the specificity of... Yeah, it is specificity.
Specificity.
Thank you. Sorry. Of the call from the dude who claimed that he was Natsuhi's son. How did he know how to call that number exactly?
Probably got somebody to figure out the phone number, or he did his own research.
If that's the case, then how was he aware that they had a family conference that held every year specifically on those days?
You don't know how close he is to this at all.
He might have contacts.
Or he's actually been on the island before.
That can't be possible. If he was, then Natsuhi would have known about him. And so would have anyone else.
Kuadorian.
Not really. She kind of was purposely forgetting it, like it was happening a long time ago. Like she abandoned the child.
Oh, I just remembered something else I had in my notes.
Go for it.
I was thinking, could these headaches be repressed trauma? Trauma should try to repress.
Yes, it could be your stress headaches. That can tend to happen.
Headaches from repressed memories and tension. She did keep mentioning the roaring of the waves in the sea. Maybe something happened to this kid over by the sea and she just repressed it after all these years. It could be a possibility.
Thank you, Orange. Thank you for putting that on the Twitch.
Oh god damn it, do I really need to stare at Krause's ass?
He's got a nice ass. Look at it.
Look, it's Krause's dumpy. There it is.
You know, Bone, you are not the first person who has read Umineko's PS3 sprites and have pointed this out. I remember I went to Umi Twitter, which y'all should not do due to spoilers, and somebody pointed this out on their first read through.
It's a really good ass. Look how tight it is.
It's just crass to look at his ass, okay?
Getting back to the point.
Is it just Kraus to look at his house?
Okay.
Okay,
Just-
carry on.
Bottom line, it's a little too specific to go ahead and have all these details in here and not include or actually... Sorry. Started talking, brain got away from... Fuck, it feels like I'm gonna cough on my tonsils. Ugh. Just, I feel like we need more information as of right now to go ahead and make a further point on whether or not this call was imaginary for Natsuki, or if this actually is a part of the story.
It's a real call. I don't think they would add that in unless they have to do it like that. Also, you can't really fake a phone call.
Fair.
Depends on how crazy you are, I imagine.
I don't think you can imaginary concept of an external line of a phone call.
I mean, I imagine. Wait. Did other people hear the phone call? I forget.
Genji did say he
Okay, you know what? Forget what I said then.
But then again, that could have also been a hallucination.
I don't know.
There's
got-
also... Sorry.
No, you go.
There's also... Sorry. The point of Erica now being the detective set. From what is described in her character sheet, she absolutely must enjoy being victorious or being proven right. Meaning, if one of her theories doesn't turn out right and the detective turns out to be wrong, then what happens?
We don't know yet.
What do you think would happen then?
I don't know. It's magic bullshit is going on. I don't know what they're gonna do. Colored words.
Colored words?
Just saying that it's kind of ambiguous as to what is about to happen regarding her detective role.
No. I mean, if we're going at this, I should have specified. If Erica is going to solve this from a non-magical standpoint, and she proves to be wrong at any point, does that mean that her disappointment would actually cause her to lash out at the others? Unreliable detective? Is that a thing?
We're not for sure yet. It's too early in the story.
Fair point.
I mean, it did say that she could request boons from Burn Castle. It said that she can, ask for miracles.
And I doubt she could do that multiple times in a story, though. That feels like a bit of a reach.
I don't know, that's what the profile said.
Until we get further evidence, I think we just leave it as is.
Ha ha ha! Thank you, Joshi.
Yeah, that was so far-reaching.
Moving on.
The only other thing I have to comment on through all of this is how convincing Lambda Delta makes it that the magic side could actually be reality. This definitely feels different from how Beatrice crafted her boards. There's a clear divide, but at this point I can't tell if the divide is actually true or false. Should I elaborate on that, or...?
She wants to muddle the truth of what's real and what's not.
Well, she's doing a damn good job of it. That's all the ideas I've had.
What else do people have to think?
Anybody else?
Not really. It was mostly the mysterious son, the new detective character, and Natsui's worsening mental condition.
Wait, I thought of something else. there wasn't anyone who gave her a letter this time.
Yeah.
Did we get to that? Did we get to that point yet?
That usually
Yeah.
happens later.
Well, no, Maria came in. The part where Beatrice usually meets Maria is where she found Erica.
Right,
Exactly.
and we didn't get a letter like last time. Interesting.
So
Yeah,
the
this episode's
formula.
changing.
So the formula for the mystery is already mixed up as well.
Wait, actually, I might have a thought regarding that. Well, last time Beatrice wasn't even a factor, supposedly. Maybe off screen. But that was kind of the first interaction with Beatrice talking to the cast, was that letter. But now we are seeing her actually interact with a person. Supposedly.
In the first episode, it was kind of a we're not for sure. Second episode was kind of a sort of, and then the rest kind of were a mixture of that.
So it's actually just becoming more and more of a blur?
Mm.
Anybody else have anything else to postulate?
And we don't know who actually talked to her. It could have been a detective character, or it could have been a different character.
I'm curious if this new character will be an asshole.
I wonder.
It did say in the character sheet that she does enjoy being proven right and sneers at people whenever they're proven wrong.
She sounds like an asshole. I'm very curious if she is.
Not everybody is an asshole if they can do that.
Could be just smug.
Yeah.
Smug people smug tends to be a bit of an asshole trait, but not necessarily guaranteed. This question is very important to the plot, absolutely.
Okay, so then smugness is equal than or greater to assholishness.
Does anybody else have other thoughts?
Not really. It was mostly, like I said, Natsui's health, mental health, the concept of the detective, and the mysterious secret son.
May I make a clarification on something real quick? What's something that has already been stated?
What is your clarification?
I want to note that in red, I apologize. I have to go grab it real quick so I can read it off verbatim.
Okay.
After all, Natsui is drinking tea all by herself, right there.
Yeah.
Just want to note that. And that was with when Kinzo was there and all that. That red truth was just dropped.
Yeah, we kind of know that because of that one instinct.
I still want to pursue this from both a magical and from a non-magical perspective.
Alright, so is that it?
Alright, yeah, I think we're good. Okay, good night, everybody. See you all on Tuesday.
Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.